Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
it's a rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's go live on a Friday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. Coming up at 10:30, Tim May will join us. 11 o'clock, what we learned this week. 11:30, the great Aaron Portzline will be dropping by. As the Handsome Update anchor just reminded you, Will Howard will be speaking or is already speaking over in Indy. We will have some of that for you as the program goes along. The other thing of very much importance, of course, is the other two quarterbacks, the two at the top of the draft. They will be talking today as well. So pretty loaded up for a nice little Friday edition of the program. I wanted to start here. I tweeted last night, watching the Blue Jackets play. They had after they scored their third goal in the second period, the Blue Jackets are going to win the Cup. Now, I didn't say when. They're going to win the Cup. But I will say this. I do believe that for the first time since they have been a franchise, that the pieces are in place for this to become a Stanley Cup contender. And that inevitably this group, this core, will be good enough to win the Cup. The overwhelming amount of precocious talent that just keeps coming in waves and waves and waves cannot be ignored. This is an organization that's always treated its players as if they're the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've always done that. This is a fan base that has always had their back, sometimes even when it maybe didn't deserve it. This is the best young roster they've ever had. Anyone who's been around this team for as long as all of us have and has been a fan of this franchise for as long as all of us have, this is what you've been waiting for. This is where I hoped they would be next year, the year after. Certainly didn't think it would be this year. Didn't think there was any chance it would be this year. They have far exceeded my expectations for this year. But I think what you know while exceeding those expectations, at least what I feel like I know now, is the pieces are in place for them over the next decade to be consistently in the mix at the top of the East. And I do think that they are the building blocks of a franchise that can go win the Stanley Cup. That's what it feels like to me. I mean, just you think about Kent Johnson is 22 years old. Adam Fantilli is 20 years old. Cole Sillinger, who got dinged last night, is 21 years old. Kirill Marchenko is 24 years old. Just think about that. What are they going to look like at 27 when they're in their athletic prime? What is this going to look like? Does Kent Johnson, they get the 3 goals in the second. He does the intermission interview with Jody. Disinterested. Nothing's crowned. Let's go. On to the next. Let's bury him. And they did. The other thing that's really cool about this time right now, it's a perfect storm of all of it. You got the stadium game tomorrow. Always make that matter, right? Well, it does. They're tied at 66 points apiece. The intensity of that game last night, the physicality, was off the charts. It was so smart of the NHL to schedule that game last night and then the game tomorrow back to back. There's a familiarity that causes discomfort that I think is an absolute win. I'm in my office watching the game last night, and Beamsy came in, and he goes, "Are we winning?" That's the first time I've ever heard him refer to the Blue Jackets as we. Ever.
That's a huge deal.
Are we winning? And then he goes, "Can you watch that? Can we all watch that downstairs together?" Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. The bandwagon is being loaded up. And you don't know what's going to happen. Who can tell? But I do think this is by far, I don't think it's even close, Reese, of the best position this franchise has ever been in. And I think second's eighth.
Yeah, someone had asked us earlier this week, I think it was during Hey Guys, if the Jackets make the playoffs, is this the best season ever? And I'm almost wondering to myself, even before we get to the playoffs, do we consider this the best season ever? Just considering everything that you thought, October 10th they started the season. You're thinking October 9th. This would all be a dream. Like you're still coming to terms with the loss of Johnny Gaudreau. You're still trying to wonder, how is this team going to work through this? How is this team going to use this sport, going to use each other to try to get over an unimaginable tragedy? And through the first couple of months of the season, you're like, okay. They were starting to put together, nights and stretches of hockey, and you saw moments where you said, okay, this can build to something. But to your earlier point, build to something next year. You have a new head coach. You have a new general manager. You still have a lot of the guys from the old regime that you had wanted to be part of what was going to be the future of this Blue Jackets organization. But instead of next year, you're now. And I don't think there's ever been that sort of a feeling for a Blue Jackets team. Now opens a window that could be 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And you've never had that outside of the football team that plays at Ohio Stadium.
Bo, I think it's interesting, and I don't know if you did it on purpose or not. I'm guessing that you didn't, but I think it's interesting that you used the number of age that you did when you said, what are these guys going to be when they're 27?
Yeah.
Because of what we've seen out of Zach Werenski this year at the age of 27, where he's taking it to a whole nother level. We knew that this guy was an all-star type player. He is a Norris Cup defenseman type defenseman now in his age 27 season. I texted you guys last night, and the Jackets did not score a power play goal. But this is the most dangerous power play the Jackets have ever had. That top unit with Werenski and Johnson and Fantilli and Marchenko and big Dmitry Voronkov in front of the net, who's another one of those guys that's 23, 24 years old.
Oh, yeah. Right. Voronkov.
I mean, the way they whip the puck around and the way that they can all shoot the puck, I mean, we have never seen. I was watching that power play last night, and I got it felt like I was watching the 2018-2019 Tampa Bay Lightning on the power play, the way they just whip that thing around, and there's so much skill. And you think every time that puck hits one of their sticks, it's going in the back of the net. It is so dangerous, and that's something, even in 2016, when the Blue Jackets had maybe their best power play ever, it didn't have that feel to it.
No, and here's what's so damn sustainable about it. I mean, we mentioned all the ages of those young guys, and Zach's 27. Guys like Provorov, who's 28. You talked about Voronkov, he's 24. Lindstrom isn't even here yet. Matejchuk's 22. Like, they're all kids. They're kids. They're like a gang of 16-year-olds that are like been lifting weights and they're ready to fight people. Like, it's crazy. It's so fun. It's so damn fun, and it is so sustainable. And you think of a guy like James Van Riemsdyk, who had the 2 goals last night, who's in the twilight of his career. I heard Shark talking this morning on The Juice about how this is going to be his 8th outdoor game. He's played in more outdoor games than anybody, which is a stunning thing. But this city of ours is one that is so livable, and the reputation of the way that this ownership and this franchise has handled veteran players is so noted around the league. Guys love playing here. You're going to be able to get guys like that to play with these kids for the next 5 to 7. This will become a free agent destination, the way that Nashville was a decade ago. It will become that. You will see guys coming in and wanting to be a part of this. This organization has had nothing but bad luck for most of its existence. And the idea that this came off of the most unspeakable tragedy is hard to wrap your head around. It's like a Disney movie that this has all happened the way that it has. And so it's sustainable. I do think it's the foundation of a cup team. It feels like that. You mentioned Tampa Bay. It feels like this group, this core. It's a huge core, too, guys. We're not talking about 2 or 3 guys. I mean, I just named upwards of 10 players who are under 25. Most of them are closer to 20 than 25.
You mentioned, by the way, the unimaginable tragedy with Johnny Gaudreau. How good on the organization to have Jane Gaudreau on the mom's trip with the team there last night, and a great job by the hockey operations people up in Detroit to recognize her on the big board and recognize that moment. Very cool. Yeah. The hockey community, as well as the Blue Jackets, have just crushed everything with this terrible situation.
That's another example, though. This organization does everything. That's the thing that was always it was such a paradox. They did everything off the ice right, but they couldn't get the on the ice right. And we've been waiting for them to get the on the ice right, because then, by God, look out. And that's where you're at. And tomorrow is a culmination and a celebration of all of that. It is the perfect storm. It's sublime. It's awesome. It's going to be an incredible day tomorrow at the Shoe. And, of course, we're going to have you covered. Reese, you guys are noon? Is that when you're starting? When are you starting? High noon. From the shipping container on Lane Avenue, noon to 3. All right, so you got noon to 3, and then 3 to 5 is AR and Rims. Couple goats. Jeez. Come on. What do you want? Live. This is unbelievable. We'll have much more on the Jackets as the show goes along, but this is a fun time. It's a very fun time, and it's very, very sustainable. From the sublime to the ridiculous, Myles Garrett doubles down on his trade demands. We will get into that. Take a look at what's going on a very big day over at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. We're off and running on a Friday edition. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And, well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Tri-State Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Tri-State Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring's going to be here before you know it. I know it feels cold now, but before too long, you're going to be outside running around, jogging, wanting to do golf, explore time with your family. Get outside and do the things you love. Just be active. And listen, a lot of my friends, they're asking me about QC Connect's joint treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. And if you're wondering, maybe you could be a good candidate, let's see if the answer is yes to any of these questions. Quality of life impacted by chronic pain, knees, hips, back, shoulders, other things. Trouble sleeping, walking, day-to-day movement? Check. Next, avoiding surgery, the pain, the downtime? Check. Most importantly, do you miss doing the things I talked about when the spring and summer are here? Check. Don't wait. If you answered yes to one or any of those, you'd be a great candidate. You can go in there, go to QC Kinetics, ask for their free consultation, find out what it's all about, learn about the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They've got locations in Dublin and Gehenna, or you can go to qckinetics.com/Columbus, or better yet, call 380-208-4544.
Jake Diebler's Buckeyes are back at the shot for a Big Ten battle with Nebraska.
Live fan coverage starts Tuesday night at 8.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
Ohio's higher education faculty and staff are dedicated to giving their students what they need to succeed. The right to collectively bargain, including the right to strike when absolutely necessary, are essential tools for faculty to create the learning conditions students deserve. Stand up against attacks on Ohio's colleges and universities.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Expect windy conditions this afternoon with southwesterly winds sustained around 25 miles per hour, potentially gusting up to 50 miles per hour. We have a wind advisory set until 7 o'clock this evening. And with those southwesterly winds, we'll boost up to the mid-50s for highs this afternoon under mostly sunny skies. Tonight, I expect increasing clouds as we fall through the 50s and into the 40s. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Erica Calora.
Here's a quick 10-second reminder that the Buckeyes have won the Natty. Also, we air all the games, and we always will. Thank you. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Well, things certainly heating up the NFL Scouting Combine over in Indianapolis. This is it's so much more about the business of the league than it is what you see in terms of the testing of the players. We've said that over and over again. And one of the big businesses of the day appears to be Matthew Stafford and his future. And I was a little wrong on this. I thought maybe the first domino that would have to fall would be the Vikings deal with Sam Darnold. It feels like the Stafford deal is going to happen very, very quickly. Diana Rossini, among others, with this morning. The Rams are set to meet with Matthew Stafford at their facility in person regarding his future today. The Raiders and Giants have discussed a 2-year contract for Stafford that includes $90 to $100 million in guarantees. If it's about the month, so that's probably 2 years. 2 years 45 or 2 years 50. That's kind of where you're at. That seems abundantly fair.
Do the Raiders think they're that guy away?
I think Brady is just bull in a china closet, Reese.
You know, good for Mark Davis. He took a man's millions of dollars to basically work for him. Tom Brady is paying the Raiders to work for the Raiders.
Yeah.
What a racket.
Yeah.
Was Mark Davis even in Indianapolis, or did he just stay in Vegas?
I don't think they have a P.F. Chang's downtown.
Yeah, that's a shame.
So probably not.
It is Imperial compound. Have you seen photos of Mark Davis's house?
I have, yeah. It fits the haircut, I think. Doesn't he? He still drives like the van. He's got the van, and then he...
Thought it was like a PT Cruiser.
Yeah, he cruises around in that thing. I don't know that anyone benefited more from going to Vegas than Mark Davis, both professionally and personally, as it seems. To answer your question, no, I don't think the Raiders are that close, but I think Tom Brady knows I can get a jump start on this thing right now. And the thing is what's the give back? Like, what do the Raiders have to give back to acquire him? Because he's still under contract. He's not a free agent. So what is the give back from either the Raiders or the Giants? The Giants seem infinitely closer. They obviously Malik Neighbors. They've got all sorts of talent on that side of the ball, and the division is more navigable. Even though you have the Super Bowl champions, you have obviously the Commies are in there as well. Actually, both the divisions are pretty tough when you think about it. My hunch is this: I think he just stays with the Rams. Is my hunch that the Rams are, of the three teams we're discussing right now, the Rams are far and away the closest to contender. They just won the division. They've got weapons. They've drafted well. Like, if it's 90 to 100 guaranteed, do a 3-year extension with him, 150 with 100 million guaranteed. And that takes him to the end of his career. That would be my hunch how this all tracks. But this is going to be pretty eminent. So I thought maybe Darnold would be first. It seems like the Stafford deal will happen first. The other bit of news that came out yesterday, late last night out of the Combine, came from ESPN, that Myles Garrett is not open to a contract extension with the Cleveland Browns, a league source confirmed. The team remains adamant it will not accede to the star pass rusher's trade requests. Cleveland.com first reported Garrett and his representatives have slammed the door on negotiations. The Browns met with Garrett's representatives at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis this week. Here's the really hard thing with Myles. It's because of what the Browns are able to do because of the liquidity of ownership is they are able to turn salary into guarantees when they restructure. Now, the penalty of that is when you do something like that with a player, the idea is you're never going to trade that player. So once you do that, it makes trading them damn near impossible. It makes you having to pay incredible cap penalties if you trade a player like that. So from that perspective, it is so hard to find a trade for Myles Garrett. Forget compensation. I don't know what that would look like. Is it 1-1 and a 2? Is it a 1 and 2 3s? It's not going to be 2 1s. So is it a 1 and 2 2s? What does that look like? And what team is willing to give that up and then do an extension with Myles? All the while, the Browns have to be willing to take the incredible cap penalty that will come with trading their best player and a guy who's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So that's so complicated at this juncture to try to navigate that. What team is close enough that feels like they're maybe the best pass rusher in the NFL away, who is willing to give up the demands, a 1 and a 2, but then also has the cap ability to compensate him richly enough that he's happy on that front too. So despite all the posturing, this is a really difficult needle to thread.
I think a lot of Browns fans just don't want to see a Myles Garrett holdout into the season where he's just not at the facility, he's not participating. And my question to you is, based off of that reporting where his management or Garrett's representation slammed the door in the Browns' faces, did they slam the door on your face? That would be extremely rude of them.
I wasn't in that
If what you're trying to do is just the business of all of this, slamming a door seems rather rude and also a little childish here because both.
Only my wife and Bootsy can slam the door in my face.
That's fair.
Everyone else.
Although Bootsy, let him get away a little bit there.
Dude, by the time you have the third, it's just Jesus, take the wheel. At that point, it's just like, I always remind them, look, I got 3 of you. One of you can end up in Lucasville, and it's okay. Like, the name's going to go on. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right on that thing. I'll tell you this, though, honestly, you guys are both Browns fans. Where they are as a franchise, and this is not, I always have to put the precursor on. This isn't scores. This isn't, don't pay attention to, this is just outside looking in, my view of this. If you look at where they are roster-wise, and you look at where they are cap-wise, there is some sense to trading him, if you could, and getting compensation back. There's some sense to it. There is some sense. I don't know if you could put, the dream scenario would be you put the Watson contract and have that be kind of the anchor around a Myles contract. You can have Myles, but take this too.
Raiders need a quarterback.
They can have everybody. They can have everybody. I don't know. I see that side of it too, just from the outside looking in, saying, look, you're a ways away. You have some cap problems. You need a ton of influx of new manageable talent that can come in under rookie contracts. If you got a 1 and 2 2s for him and somehow you could make it work, it's easier post-June is the way that I understand it. Like if it was a post-June designation on him, it'd be less of a cap hit, but it's still going to be a cap killer. You basically would be, I'm not, punting is too strong of a word, but you basically be saying like next year is, well, hell, Andrew Berry said it this week. Next year is a transition year anyway.
Yeah, he said it. Nobody else has to say it because the Browns leadership said it, that next year is trying to figure things out. I don't want to say tank in February because I love the Cleveland Browns. I also hate the Cleveland Browns, so I don't want to say that just right now. But my biggest fear with all of this is with Myles Garrett just refusing. I mean, it would be so silly for him, for them to just not even continue talks almost on a weekly basis with the Cleveland Browns. We need everybody to be adults about this and not make it a point to where he's impacting camp and impacting what Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry want to try to accomplish on the field.
I don't think it has. I think everything you said is on point except for the tank part of it. I think you've already got the quarterback. You're going to take a quarterback at 2. So now it's about nurturing that quarterback and putting them in position to succeed. It's hard though. It's hard to find a landing spot for him. You're not going to trade him in the AFC. Detroit is the one that everyone kind of looks to, but they've got a bunch of guys. I don't know their cap situation. They've got a bunch of guys that they got to try and trade. Could it be Minnesota? Would that? I don't even know. If that's a need for them. I mean, everybody would want Myles, but then at what cost?
You've obviously heard a lot of Commanders. Yeah. Bo, if you can trade him to the Bills and that's your biggest return, I don't understand why that would be an issue, right? You just send him and go.
To your point,
yeah. So what's the big deal there? That wouldn't bother me at all.
Trade him to the Bengals for Joe Burrow. Do that. If Cincinnati wants a defense. You want a defense so bad? Can we get a quarterback?
Then the Browns get the pie talk.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, just from
serve me up some of that.
If you had a 1 in this draft, who feels like they're close? Chicago's sitting there at 10. They did this with Julius Peppers. They did it with Khalil Mack. Chicago's there at 10. They got a rookie quarterback under team control for a while. I don't know if there's a need for them. I mean, again, everybody would want somebody to that level, but I look at them. Dallas at 7, pair him with Micah Parsons. I always think about Houston. I mean, that's
Cleveland's done enough for that franchise.
Him and Will Anderson.
Yeah, him and Will Anderson, because Will Anderson's under contractual control for a while. So is CJ. You'd have to know the cap issues with all these teams, but those are some of them. So, I know they are steadfast. They do not want to trade him and have no interest in trading him. But when you start to think about where they are as a franchise, from our perspective as fans, it makes sense to at least have conversations, I would think, especially if he's unwilling to.
Could Barry get on the phone with Houston and say, I want my picks back?
They're already gone.
Talk about a movie.
I want all my picks back. Want all my picks back. That was so farcical.
Hated that movie.
So farcical.
Damn you, Kevin Costner.
Yeah. All right. Coming up 2 minutes from now, the quarterbacks are talking. Will Howard with some strong conversation over at the NFL Scouting Combine. The 2 guys at the top of the draft, most people's opinions, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, have spoken as well. What does the quarterback class look like? That's at 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text GRIT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text GRIT to 42424. That's GRIT to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
They're trained. They're fired up. Let's do it. When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Friday edition of the program. NFL Scouting Combine heating up today. You have the quarterbacks being made available. Also had a bunch of Buckeyes talking about Julian Sayin. We'll have some of that for you a little bit later in the program, including Emeka Egbuka in terms of who's got next at quarterback for Ohio State. But the quarterback from last year, Will Howard, talking over there. Kyle McCord talking over there as well. Patrick Murphy has a great thread on some of the comments that are being made over there. Howard and McCord, Howard especially, because he's our guy, he just won the chip and all of the things that come with that. His opportunity here this week is pretty extreme when it comes to his ability to make an impression. This is a guy who, and it's funny because Cam Ward is in a similar spot. This is a guy who probably considered going into the draft last year, and what he got back was no, not there. Cam Ward got back a 4th-round grade last year, and that's what had him reconsider and go to Miami and then improve himself the way that he did. I asked Lance Zierlein about this a couple of days ago at the Combine about how a guy can go from undraftable or 4th-round pick to number 1 overall. And his answer was simple and honestly kind of obvious, because he got better. Like, you could think about Joe Burrow, who after his first year at LSU was not on anybody's radar, and then by the time he was done with his senior season was the no-brainer number 1 pick in the draft. These guys have gotten better. And one of the things that I think guys like Howard, guys like Cam Ward can benefit from is what we saw with Bo Nix, who was not somebody on anybody's radar except for the Broncos heading into last year's draft, and the way that he appointed himself was exemplary to the point of being a postseason team. You think about what Jaden Daniels did. After his first year at LSU, nobody would have had him going where he did, and he improved to the point where he did. So I think Howard has a chance to be awfully impressive this week. Now, he's not throwing, right? Have we heard that if Will's throwing or not?
Not officially. I just saw where Cam Ward's not going to be throwing, so him and Shador aren't going to be doing that. If I'm putting together all of if I'm connecting all the dots is the better way to phrase it, and they're doing the workouts tomorrow early afternoon, late in the evening, if Will Howard says he's going to be at the Horseshoe for the Stadium Series matchup, well, unless he's, 2 places at once, which would be an incredible thing for his draft stock.
Would be, yeah.
He's probably not.
Yeah, there's just no benefit to it. I mean, throw here, have the meetings, get all the measurables, go through all of the physical stuff with the doctors, get checked out on that front, and then throw here under your script. That's probably the spot. I think it's going to be – we know that Ward and Shador are both going to go probably in the top 10. Hard to imagine both of them, either one of them, getting past number 6 with the Raiders or Jets at 7. So I think those two guys are both going to go in the top 7. And then the battle for the third quarterback is pretty interesting. Jackson Dart had some interesting comments over there this morning where he talked a little bit about, look, I'm the youngest quarterback in this draft, and actually using that as an attribute versus Tyler Shuck, who's 26 in this draft. So there's a wide array at the quarterback position for teams to kind of grab onto. And it feels like that race for the third quarterback is on. And it's in the eye of the beholder entirely.
You've heard a lot of names there, right? Like Quinn Ewers is one, Jackson Dart, you maybe see that the most. Some people say that Kyle McCord can get there. And Will Howard, obviously, if he dazzles with his throwing here in front of these scouts and shows, hey, I've got a strong enough arm, I can throw the deep ball, I can get it where you need it to go, he's got a great chance. And, Bo, all it takes is for you to get one team to fall in love with you, and you'd be that third guy.
Yeah, I think someone was asking me, just because obviously we do the show here, and was asking me a little. Yes, this was on Thursday. No, I'm sorry, Wednesday. Was asking me about Kyle. Like, well, what do you make of his 1 year as the starter here? And what I told them is something that we've talked about a lot on the program, which is, I think Kyle McCord played that season constantly looking over his shoulder. I think he was the opposite of 10 feet tall and bulletproof. I think he was someone who held on a little too tight. I think he was someone who was terrified to make a mistake. Remember, that quarterback competition between him and Devin Brown went all the way to the last week, and they were splitting starts at the early part of that season. And before Devin got nicked in practice, they were working on a package to put him in. So I think Kyle McCord, when he got to Syracuse, was like, oh, my squad. Let's live a little bit. And one of the scouts over there that I talked to said, if you watch the Syracuse-Miami game, you'd be convinced that Kyle McCord would be the first quarterback off the board.
Yeah, and I think the idea that, like, Fran Brown hopped into a private jet to come see McCord.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as the announcement was, or at least soon as it started getting out into college football circles that McCord was thinking about the portal, like, he made you feel loved. And that's what these NFL coaches, if they fall in love with you, they will make you feel like you're the most important thing, because you kind of are. And that can do wonders for a quarterback.
It's interesting, seeing some of the videos here from Kyle McCord at the podium this morning, and him talking a lot about he can be the face of a franchise, and he thinks he can be that guy for any team. And the people there that are watching this, some of the people saying, man, how impressive this guy is at the podium. He can get into the little nuances of each position, and they're even kind of saying this guy could be a future coach. I think those are all things that we knew Will Howard was going to crush out of the park over here at the Combine.
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. Go ahead.
You had Emeka, as he's speaking this morning as well, right to Will Howard's face. You snore, bro. Howard says he can't confirm or deny that because he's never heard himself snore. So I wonder if that's a question that he will be asked.
They're both millionaires. Why would they have to share rooms?
I'm sure at one point.
Because of the brotherhood, Bo.
He was.
Oh, the brotherhood. At the Combine, you have to share rooms. At the Combine, you do. But in the rest of it.
I wonder if you could get truth serum injected into all 15 of them if they ever fell asleep during a meeting. I mean, I'm sure they had. And I wonder.
Jim Knowles, now the defensive guys with Knowles, not that he was boring, but just his tone. I mean, didn't you find that when we would play like Knowles audio?
Yes. If he read you a nighttime story, you'd be out by page 2.
That's what I think. I think he could read like children books and people would fall asleep. Shedeur Sanders with this. If he's confident he can turn around the Cleveland Browns, you ain't trying to change the culture, don't get with me. This is something that somebody said about Shedeur on Wednesday. If you were just drafting the player, you would view him differently. But the problem that I think, or not a problem, but I think yellow/red flags people see with Shedeur is if it's going bad, is he going to be doing a podcast every week about it? Is he going to be on social media doing videos about it? And I don't know if that's just a Shedeur thing. I think some of this is a new generation of kid and athlete where they live on phones, they live on social. Hell, how old's Paul George? Paul George had to release a statement this week. He's taking a step back from podcasting so that he could focus on, I don't know, playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, who are awful. So
they can make a run?
This is not just a Shedeur thing. This is something that a generation of young people, and Paul's not a young person anymore, but this is a world they live in. And I think one of the things that you hear over there with Shedeur is Just turn the rest of it off and let the tape speak for itself and let the talent speak for itself, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I just wonder about like the whole Sanders media circus.
Right.
If he brings that with him, do you have to have a conversation with your rookie quarterback? Like, hey, you can't have cameras in your face all the time. Like, you can't have your production thing's great, but we're not trying to do this, while we're having a meeting.
Tell that to Coach Prime's son.
I don't know that. Here's what I don't know.
You might not have to.
Yeah, I don't think Dion will be a problem at all. I don't think he's going to have anything to do with it. I think he's running a program. I don't think he's going to interfere. I don't think he'll be a part of it. He wasn't that as a player. I mean, he's self-promoting, but he was a dog as a player. I think he'll want his kid to be the same. I think that conversation around Shedeur, I think, is part of the apprehension people have with taking him high. Is you got to turn that stuff off? Are you willing to turn it off? That's the tricky part of it. All right, we got a busy sports night tonight. The NBA after all of the downfall of the All-Star game and the lack of interest in it, they've had a good couple of weeks since. With the Luka trade, Steph had a night last night and a big one between the Cavaliers and Celtics. We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We've lowered prices. You can save 15% or more on hundreds of items like Thomas Mini Bagels, Campbell's SpaghettiOs, and more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Uline is expanding in Ohio with a 1.4 million square foot building, and they're looking for exceptional people to get this location up and running. The company has seen decades of growth, creating a stable work environment employees can count on. Warehouse workers earn pay starting from $25 an hour, plus substantial bonus programs and great benefits. They also offer multiple shifts and schedules to fit your life. Check out current Aetna job opportunities at uline.jobs/Ohio.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Breaking news. .365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
New treatments for joint pain are here. By now you've heard about regenerative medicine. If you're wondering if you're a good candidate, answer these questions. First, does chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints keep you from doing the things you enjoy? Golfing, jogging, time with the family. Does it hurt doing the things you need to do? Like getting out of bed, sleeping, working, and walking. And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answered yes to any of those, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544.
The Jackets and Wings take the ice for a historic matchup at Ohio Stadium. Live coverage starts Saturday at noon with puck drop at 6.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating and Cooling.
Your home for outdoor spectaculars. The Fan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now boarding Group A. Please have your boarding passes ready to scan. If your phone is cracked, old, or was chewed up by your Chihuahua travel companion, please refrain from holding up the line. We ask that you kindly not be that guy, and instead simply go to Verizon and trade in any phone from their top brands in any condition on any unlimited plan for the new Samsung Galaxy S25 with Galaxy AI.
With new line on my plan. Additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Michelle Smallman here. Do you want to be at the draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin? Travel Wisconsin is sending 10 lucky fans and a guest to the draft. Experience the thrill of the draft firsthand and make memories that will last a lifetime. Don't wait. Enter Travel Wisconsin's Dream Draft Sweepstakes. Visit travelwisconsin.com/draft to learn how you can win a trip to experience the biggest moment of the offseason. Epic moments that become lifelong memories are waiting to be discovered across Wisconsin. Terms and conditions apply.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
I mean, it's kind of... So the weather looks like it's kind of, March is tomorrow, so you're starting to see some signs of actual light, including yesterday, actual sunlight, which is, anytime you could see the sun, that's a win. So we're headed to spring. And the one thing that we're always wanting from all of these winter teams is to be relevant in January. The Blue Jackets have absolutely done that. The Cleveland Cavaliers have done that at the highest level possible. When they acquired DeAndre Hunter, a game like tonight's the one that you wanted to see. So they get it tonight. They're in Boston against the Celtics. Reese, do I have this right? The Cavs have won 2 out of 3 against Boston in the 3 games?
It's the other way around. Celtics are 2-1 this season against the Cavs.
Okay.
And it was that last game that you needed something else. You needed something more, I think is what the Cavaliers came out of that loss thinking, if you were going to beat Boston in a 7-game series. Now with the acquisition of Hunter, you might have that more.
From a health standpoint, should be all good on all fronts, I would think, right? I mean, it should be kind of all of it. This is the one you were pointing to when you acquired Hunter, was this game, to see what this would look like.
First test where you were going to see, all right, can this work? Can he come off the bench and provide not only some perimeter shooting, but can he help defend, Tatum and Brown when some of the other starters are on the bench?
I wonder how many winning streaks they've had this year of 8 or more.
I think this is their 3rd. I want to say there was a 15 game, there was a 12 game, and this is the 8.
This is 8. So
soon to be 9, baby.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Boy, I'm nervous.
It's really cool to have both of the winter sports professional teams that you pay most attention to, with the Blue Jackets and the Cavs in the mix. And it's funny, I was thinking about this from the Cavs perspective and juxtaposed to the Blue Jackets. The Cavs are right now, I mean, we led the show with the Blue Jackets are going to be Cup contenders. They are right now where I think the Blue Jackets will be in 2 years. That's the way it feels to me. That where the Cavs are now, the Jackets will be in 2 years. They'll be on one of those teams who are among the top in the East, and the Cavs are there. And they are able, when you're in that spot, and it's so many similarities in terms of the way it's been built. Obviously, the Cavaliers were really timely in their acquisition of Donovan Mitchell, but that doesn't work if you don't draft Mobley and Garland. So all of those things are kind of coming together, and then because you have great ownership that treats players awesome, you're able to do something for DeAndre Hunter, you're able to get an extension with Donovan Mitchell, and now you're in this spot. This has been a really nice week for the NBA, and it's probably not a coincidence that the savior, kind of the shot in the arm that the league needed, was the Luka Doncic trade. That kind of was the catalyst for the goodwill. And by the way, the Lakers won again last night. He's not even playing well. I'm sorry. He's not even shooting well. He was 6 of 20 last night. At one point missed 10 straight shots, but they beat Minnesota. So they beat Denver last weekend. They beat Minnesota. They beat Dallas. They have one of the best defensive ratings in the league over the last 20 games. Every time you see a highlight, you see Luka throwing it length of the court to LeBron, who's standing at the other end for a dunk, or vice versa. So, it's all coming together rather quickly for them. So that's helped. And they had big numbers on that Luka game against Dallas earlier in the week. And then on top of that, you get what you got last night, which is one of those social media moments where I'm watching the Blue Jackets game and I pop on the X and I see Curry's 9 of 12 from 3. And you go, oh, okay, let's go a little bit there. So it was his 14th career 50-point game. Tied LeBron James and Rick Barry for 7th most in NBA history. He's had 9 such games at age 30 or older. That's the most. Per The Athletic, Curry has 45 games with at least 9 made threes. Damon Lillard is second on that with 14. We are going to get to a point by the time first of all, it is staggering that LeBron in season 22 and Steph now in his late 30s are still this effective. That they are still playing at this level. LeBron last night had 32 and 17 and 6. You're 22 in the league? Like, are you Bake? You guys are probably. Do you remember, Reese, at all Jordan with the Wizards?
Oh yeah.
Do you a little?
That was kind of like, I remember, 96, 97 with the Bulls a little bit, but my more formative years were Michael Jordan. Like, this isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very different. I mean, even Kobe at the end with the Lakers wasn't not to this level. Not like this. And those teams were terrible. I mean, these are monster. These are teams like the Lakers can win it. There's no question they can win it with just having those two alone. They're in that conversation to win it. Oklahoma City's not going to, as good as OKC is, they're not going to any part of LeBron and Luka in a series.
I'm talking about Luka's bad shooting night. He's still a double-double.
Yeah.
Like, he's effective on every piece of wood on that court. Like, he's effective everywhere. And then he'll probably go after the game and have a couple beers and smoke some hookah. Let him live, right? Isn't that the phrase?
Yeah. Do you guys have do we have this sound? Is this sound from LeBron or is this a quote?
This is sound from LeBron from last night. So Anthony Edwards gets ejected. Yep. He has 2 technical fouls, and I think he's encroaching on DeMarcus Cousins' territory in terms of technical fouls had in a season before March. And this is LeBron talking about the face of the league and criticism that comes to superstars.
Why do you want to be the face of the league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? We have that responsibility. It's just weird. It's weird energy from the people that I don't know, but. Channing, he said it. He said it perfectly. He couldn't have said it no better. But Ant said he don't want it. Obviously I didn't ask for it, but I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career. Not only in Ohio when I started there, but all over America and all over the world when I traveled all over the world. So. I've always taken that seriously and understood from the beginning what being a professional was all about and being a role model was all about. So try to hold that with the utmost respect and honor. And but I understand. I completely understand. This is weird energy when it comes to that. So
that's interesting because he's dead right, and that's for all that he's done on the court, which is in a conversation of the greatest career in the history of the game and the best player in the history of the game. He's really done the off-field stuff incredibly well as well. It's one awkward leave of Cleveland the first time through. Other than that, there's nothing. There's nothing on him. I mean, it's all clean. And when you think about the world that he's had to occupy for his entire career in the spotlight, always camera phones, social media, all of it. I think the one mistake and the one thing I would tell what's Anthony Edwards or LeBron with his conversations of I didn't want it, all of that stuff. You don't have to be on social media. You don't have to be.
John Morant says he quit it.
Good. You don't need to be on it. You don't need to give these fools access. I think it derailed Kevin Durant. I really do. I think he became so preoccupied with what people were saying about him on social, and then he put those people on social in the exact same category as the people who cover the league and who talk about the league. He put them in the same category, and it created a bitterness and a resentment that he's never been able to shake. Really. I mean, it's been a decade of this for him. So I think that part's very real. LeBron's handled it well. He's crushed it in terms of the off-court stuff for his career. He's absolutely crushed it. And the cool thing is you're coming off of a year where Steph had that moment in the Olympics, And now both of those guys, the Lakers, if the Lakers could be the 2 seed and get to play Dallas in the first round, that would be unbelievable for the league. Golden State gets in. Now you're talking, because those guys still have a lot of gas in the tank. We've got a big event here in town tomorrow. Stadium Series. Where does it rank in our town's history of biggest events we've had? We've got some nominations. We'll see where this one could be. And I think a big part of where this one could be is based on how well the Jackets are playing. We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
When that alarm clock goes off, Morning Juice comes on. The perfect way to dominate your day or just lay around the house. Morning Juice.
Weekdays at 6.
The Fan.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
At Logan Services, we know how important your home comfort is, and that's why we're proud to offer free HVAC inspections. Through our free inspection, you'll get a thorough assessment of your heating and cooling system to identify any potential issues that can impact your home, your energy bills, and even your health. The assessment is free and only takes an hour of your time. It's the fast, friendly service that you've come to expect from our team at Logan Services.
Hey Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived, the only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get President's Day deals all month long at Coughlin Chevrolet, Central Ohio's #1 Chevy dealer. Lease a new 2025 Chevy Trax, only $149 a month. Or a new 2025 Trailblazer, just $169 a month. At all 5 Coughlin Chevy locations and CoughlinChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
36 and 42-month leases, 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over, $39.99 due at signing plus tax, title, and license. See dealer for details. Ends 3/3/25.
What does living your best nonstop life mean to you? Cheering on your team at that big game? A music festival with friends? A family vacation? Or maybe a vacation from your family? Live your best nonstop life with low fares and nonstop flights only at Allegiant.com.
Non-stop flights from Columbus to Fort Lauderdale, one way for as low as $44. Must be purchased by 4/24/2025 for travel between 3/13/2025 and 8/17/2025. Seats and dates are limited. Restrictions apply. See Allegiant.com for details.
Do you realize making the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards, it'll take nearly 20 years to pay them off? What if I told you there's a way for you to get them all paid off in just a matter of weeks? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Imagine wiping out all of your credit cards. Here's where you go. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending is the easy button for tapping in to hundreds of thousands of dollars in your home equity. That's not the bank money, it's your money. Listen, your home, the value is way up. And now AFLcash.com has a super fast, hassle-free program that lets you turn that equity into cash. People do this are living their best life, their credit card debt free, with cash left over for other stuff like home improvements, maybe a vacation. See how much money you can get now. Go to AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Say goodbye to greedy credit card companies. That's AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Want a golf course quality lawn? It's easier and more affordable than you think with True Green. As the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, True Green brings pro-level expertise straight to your yard, so your lawn can look like a fairway. Sign up by March 10th and get one free application. Plus, you'll get True Green's price match guarantee. If you're not satisfied, True Green will revisit your lawn between scheduled visits to make it right. Visit TrueGreen.com today to get a free application. Offer ends March 10th. Restrictions apply.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com. Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. We're a little over 24 hours out from the Stadium Series matchup between the Blue Jackets and Red Wings, live from Ohio Stadium. CBJ won in Detroit last night 5-2. James Van Riemsdyk had 2 goals for Columbus. Boone Jenner had 3 assists. The teams are tied in points for the first wildcard spot in the East. A Blue Jackets win tomorrow night puts them in sole possession of that wildcard. Saturday's face-off from the Shoe is 6 o'clock. We'll have Stadium Series coverage on the Fan, live from campus, starting tomorrow at noon. In the NFL, it's day 5 of the Scouting Combine. Defensive backs will work out for scouts today. Quarterbacks gave interviews with the media this morning. Miami's Cam Ward told reporters he will not throw this weekend. Colorado's Shedeur Sanders is also skipping the quarterback workouts tomorrow. And in the NBA, the Cavaliers are at the Boston Celtics tonight at 7:30. Cleveland's on an 8-game win streak. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Friday edition. Our Steph Odie caught up with Will Howard over at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. We'll have that interview for you coming up in about 15 minutes from now. We have a Stadium Series game here tomorrow. It got me thinking a little bit about the biggest events that we've ever had in our fair city. And certainly you have, I think for the conversation's sake, you have to take away Ohio State, Michigan games because that's a yearly, every other year event that's here. I think you have to take those out.
Okay, fine.
Is that fair? Otherwise,
yeah, because
I guess if you have that, it's,
I don't know, 06.
So 06 is number one, right? 06 all time. The biggest sporting event in this city.
You go to 06, then you also have to consider how many times in the last decade have they played number 1 versus number 3 or 2 versus 4, both undefeated? It's happened all the time.
Bo died like the day before.
Yeah.
I mean, there was.
that was a. Yeah.
It was like an evil chuckle in there, Reese.
That was a 330, 330 kick too, right?
That just added so much to it emotionally.
It did. Yeah. That's almost like I don't know. I almost separate those because that feels like a university, an Ohio State event versus like a city event.
Fair.
They would be on any list. You could pick your favorite, and that one would be certainly at the top. Is 16 the walk-off Samuel game? Is that
Curtis
16?
Samuel. I have the CFP from December on my top 5 because.
So that I agree with.
First timer.
And also not not something that was regularly scheduled. Something we had to rise up for. You have a list? You have a top 5.
Well, it's sports talk radio. Are you going to not rank things?
Go.
So at
Let's
number
go.
1, I've got Ohio State, Michigan from November 18th of 2006.
Yep.
At 2, I do think the Stadium Series matchup tomorrow will be the second biggest sporting event. And I'm just going through my lifetime. I was born July 9th of 1990.
Yep.
At number 4, actually, no, I lied. At number 4, I have the 1989 Arnold Classic because that was the first one.
Okay.
And that's one of the biggest events in the world. And then I have 2023 MLS Cup between the Crew and LAFC because that was 2 years after Lower.com Field opened. And just what that's going to mean for this city, that franchise, and that area really moving forward.
I think that the first thing that came to my mind, and I wasn't here, and I was obviously a young kid at this time, but I think the 1987 Ryder Cup is a monster. That's a monster. That is the Ryder Cup at peak of its powers. That is the world coming to Columbus. I talked to Dom about like what was Dublin like in 1987, and it was farmland. Go out there now. To me, any conversation about the biggest sporting event in this town has to start there. Because now you'd have to talk to somebody who was around here at that time, and we'll have Tim on at 10:30. My guess is he was involved in it, covered it somehow. But that had to be like a hello world Central Ohio moment when the Ryder Cup was here.
I don't remember 1985, but the Columbus Ford Dealers 500, they did that series from 85 to 87, like actual IndyCar-ish events in Columbus. Baker,
Tim would know that.
Okay. Baker, do you have any reference for?
I vaguely remember, but I do not. I do not remember it well, but I do vaguely remember that. And obviously, Bobby Rahal at the time was one of the best IndyCar drivers in the world, and he was based here and all of that. Bo, it's interesting. You talked about the 87 Ryder Cup. I remember we had the President's Cup here a few years ago. That was something. The first thing that came to my mind when I saw this topic today was, I can't remember the year, 95, 96, whatever, the Notre Dame game. That was huge. They hadn't played in forever, and you were doing a home and home, and those Ohio State teams were so good. Lou Holtz, all of that. That was the first thing that popped into my head.
And I think probably if it's not a picture of Woody Hayes or Arch, one of the most popular pictures in most of your guys out there listening, Den, is Eddie in that game against Notre Dame. So that's on there. I'll tell you something else that was mammoth was any of the Dos Acero games with USA Mexico, because that was a fortress. And there was one at Cruz Stadium where it was a Dos Acero, and it was we got into the World Cup by winning it. It was a World Cup and winning you're into the World Cup. That one jumped out as well on that list. Those all feel like monsters. The NHL All-Star Game.
That was
I don't know if that
weekend.
Elevates to this, but that was a hell of a weekend to see the stars of a sport invade our town. We've hosted NCAA tournaments, men's and women's, all of that stuff through the years. Everything that they do at the Columbus Sports Commission is just so on top. I mean, they just crush it. So there's some of those things that we've done independently. It's hard to me when I think this one's right there though. I think this is going to be what I think's so cool about this is the partnership, the synergy between Ohio State and the city. Those things sometimes, I mean, hell, they were 25 years ago they were in a race to build an arena first. Sometimes those things are at odds. And so this is something where they are in it together. This is a professional sports team of record. This is the stadium of record, kind of all coming together for 90,000 people in a one-off event. I think it's on a very, very short list.
But what about the first Blue Jackets game ever? With them coming to town, and you mentioned the arena, the new arena, and I mean, think how much this city has changed, how hockey has grown. You have people in the NHL now from this city.
The other thing you'd have to compare that to is some of those first crew games where they were playing at Ohio State with 50,000 people.
Now, that's something I know Tim will have thoughts on.
Yeah.
Because those were kind of fun.
You'd have to have that historical perspective on those things. What may have been a bigger event than that was like getting the franchise.
Yeah.
You knew once you got the franchise, you knew you were going to be getting games. I think the thing that I feel very confident about, though, is what Jack did with the Memorial Tournament and inevitably getting a Ryder Cup and President's Cup, all of those things. that's probably as important a thing that's ever been done in this town. I mean, he kind of created Dublin, Ohio. Yeah. Kind of built one of the most affluent. There are the amount of cities in this country that go to Dublin and try to mimic that. I mean, we've mimicked it in the various suburbs around town. Have all kind of tried to mimic that blueprint that Dublin has. So that has to be, I think, I just can't imagine what it was like in, 1987 for the golf world to descend in that type of way on Central Ohio. But I think this one's in the conversation. I think this stadium series is on a very, very short list. And if you take out Ohio State football, which is something that's a yearly experience, I mean, hell, next year's Texas game is going to have the juice that you had for Notre Dame coming here. Heck, what about Texas when Vince came in? We lost the game, but that was a monster.
Probably biggest regular season non-Michigan game of my lifetime was the build for that.
Yeah.
It's funny, Bo, having this conversation. Like, it makes me want to go back and talk to my grandfathers or maybe even their fathers. And what was it like when Scioto hosted the U.S. Open and the PGA Championship back in the 20s and 30s, and them hosting a Ryder Cup way back in the day? Like, it makes me want to go have those conversations about what that stuff did for the city way back when.
Columbus Country Club hosted a PGA. I mean, there were some monster things that were kind of happening. But yeah, I mean, this one's going to be there. And it feels like kind of the perfect storm for everybody. All right, coming up next, we'll continue this conversation. You'll hear from Dean Evison and Boone Jenner on what they expect tomorrow at the Shoe. You'll also hear Steph Odie's conversation with Will Howard over at the NFL Scouting Combine. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with the sound of freshness. With new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items, so you save on all the crunch, all the flavor, all the just-picked goodness you love. Surround yourself with savings every time you shop with new low prices on apples, carrots, lettuce, celery, and more. Enjoy fresh savings on fresh produce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. You know, as much as I enjoy being a professional inventor, a few of my dream inventions still elude me.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, the bruiseless avocado.
Ooh.
The unlosable TV remote.
Could change the world.
And for you, Aaron, the uncloggable drain.
Get Eco.
Until you crack it, Jerry. You know our 93 or free drain clearing offer is the next best thing.
Okay. Explain yourself.
Get Eco.
Our drain team will clear your drain for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it'll stay clear for at least a year, or we will clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
We'll even send our little robot camera down there to make sure you don't have a larger problem that could cause more trouble in the future.
Get Eco.
You think your guys could bring that robot over to my place and help me find that TV remote?
I think that's impossible even for us.
Get Eco.
Eco, plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring's going to be here before you know it. I know it feels cold now, but before too long, you're going to be outside running around, jogging, wanting to do golf, explore time with your family. Get outside and do the things you love. Just be active. And listen, a lot of my friends, they're asking me about QC Kinetics joint treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. And if you're wondering, maybe you could be a good candidate, let's see if the answer is yes to any of these questions. Quality of life impacted by chronic pain, knees, hips, back, shoulders, other things. Trouble sleeping, walking, day-to-day movement? Check. Next, avoiding surgery, the pain, the downtime? Check. Most importantly, do you miss doing the things I talked about when the spring and summer are here? Check. Don't wait. If you answered yes to one or any of those, you'd be a great candidate. You can go in there, go to QC Kinetics, ask for their free consultation, find out what it's all about, learn about the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They've got locations in Dublin and Gehenna, or you can go to qckinetics.com/Columbus, or better yet, call 380-208-4544.
The Stadium Series is coming, and we're ready with 5 hours of pregame. Join Baker, Reeser, Tyvus, Rothman, and Jeff Rimmer as they get you ready for Jackets hockey at the Shoe.
Sponsored by Visit Central Florida.
Saturday at 8 on The Fan.
We plant trees because people need trees, and when planted in the right place, they have great impact. Trees help slow climate change, filter our air and water, foster biodiversity, and strengthen our communities. They create the kind of transformational change the world needs now. April is a month filled with opportunities to care for and plant trees. For planting resources, contact an Ohio ISA certified arborist who can help you learn how to take the best care of your trees. Visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Expect windy conditions this afternoon with southwesterly winds sustained around 25 miles per hour, potentially gusting up to 50 miles per hour. We have a wind advisory set until 7 o'clock this evening. And with those southwesterly winds, we'll boost up to the mid-50s for highs this afternoon under mostly sunny skies. Tonight, I expect increasing clouds as we fall through the 50s and into the 40s. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Erica Calora.
Here's a listener tweet. Can I tase Common Man in the nuts? Fine by us, but he may like it. Common Man and Tebow.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
And as always, we are brought to you and sponsored by our friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. I was at the Sawmill location yesterday, talking to my guy Daniel, and taking care of a little service on a watch that I had. So very nice there. Tell them that I sent you. They'll take care of you on that side of things. We got a tweet from... in regard to biggest Nick with this tweet. Grew up off the 11th fairway at Muirfield. The 87 Ryder Cup was huge for Muirfield. However, we lost and the Euros partied all night long, and we could hear them from our patio. Everything changed after that, and guys like Fred Couples and Davis Love started coming every year. So, yeah, I mean, that type of firsthand account, we'll have another firsthand account of all of this with Tim May, who's been in town for a very, very long time. That's in about 12 minutes from now. This one tomorrow is going to be a big one before we get to Steph Odie with Will Howard. Let's hear from Dean Evison on what he expects for tomorrow on being in the shoe. He's been there. He's on Morning Juice. Was this morning, Bake, or was this from yesterday when he was on?
Yeah, this was yesterday when he was on.
All right, here's Coach on being in the shoe before.
Yeah, I had my first experience this year. We all went to a game, all the players and all the coaches, and went to a football game, and it was absolutely fantastic. I've been to a basketball game over there as well, obviously not in that building, but to be in that stadium, I say to people, I've been to the Coliseum in Rome, and when you walk up to the shoe and you look up, it has that same feel for me. It was just like I was in awe of such a wonderful stadium, so massive stadium, and how obviously old it is, and how it's been preserved and just treated right. So yeah, to go over there this week and to walk in there and seeing the boards up and the ice being put down and looking around that incredible stadium, it gave you chills, and we're all excited about it. Certainly excited to get over there tomorrow, and then obviously Saturday to get after it in the game.
When you think about guys who this will resonate most with, you can't help but think of Boone Jenner. It felt like he got back just to try to play in this game, and he's going to get to. Obviously, he spoke about this being a dream come true.
At first, it kind of looks a little small out there. He's
still don't believe it until they announce it, right? And once they announced it, it was pretty special feeling, and knowing it was coming, and here we are. I feel like not long ago, right after training camp, we came here as a team and watched a football game, and trying to picture this, it's hard to picture, and here we are. The week's here that we're going to be playing here, so pretty special for our group, and like I said, our fans, our city, and our organization. So we're excited to come out here and play.
Boone was on Juice as well and weighed in on what he's most looking forward to about playing at the Shoe.
It's going to be special for sure. I mean, it's going to be hard to imagine playing in front of that many people. And I was there earlier in the week, and just the walk out of the tunnel and looking up at the crowd and seeing a rink actually on the football field was pretty wild, and it's pretty cool. I'm just going to try to soak it all in as much as I can, and I think Friday we'll get to do that more so. With the family skate, we get to enjoy being with our families and sharing it with them, skating around after practice and soaking it in, looking up, and then. But it's going to be even a lot different Saturday with, like you said, 90+ thousand in the stands. It's a big game for us too, so I'm sure we'll be looking around, soaking it in as much as possible, in warm-ups and whatnot and all the build-up. But it's a big game for us when we get going. But for myself, I just want to, like I said, soak it in as much as possible. It's something that doesn't really happen often in our careers to be able to do this. So try to enjoy the moment for sure.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. You guys are both going?
Taking our friend Tyvis Powell, who'll be one of around 30,000 taking in their first NHL and first Blue Jackets game.
Can't wait.
Is he in the stands or is he press?
He's press.
Okay.
Although don't ask him because he's not press, but
not a member of the media.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard him earlier this week talking about that with Timmy. How give me a break. He was on with us all fall. I'm like, dude, come on, stop it. Not a member of them. He's a pundit, is what he is. My hunch is that the spectacle of this will be second to none. What is our most recent weather circumstances for tomorrow? What are we looking like?
It looks like we've dropped in temperature. Sounds like it's going to be pretty windy, and we're in the mid 30s. Maybe low 30s by the time we drop puck.
Are you guys press or are you in the stands?
I'm sitting in the stands.
I'll be in the
deck?
press.
A deck.
Okay. All right. So if the wind whipping the C deck makes me that could be a little tough. If it's in the 30s and the wind's whipping, that's not ideal. Bake went extra savvy and went press, so you're going to be in a perfect spot there. Is this your lady friend's first ever?
This will be her first sporting event at Ohio Stadium. I took her to the national championship celebration. We stood in A-deck and watched it. And, yeah, to see the emotion on her face, to see kind of how massive Ohio Stadium is. Like, just the spectacle of it all. And I'm very excited not only for her, but for Baker, for Tyvis, and for everybody who hasn't yet seen what that stadium's going to look like in person. Yeah. Is going to be a really emotional thing. I remember.
I agree.
For the past 15 years, it's felt like this has been clamored for. And this has been the dream, to have the Blue Jackets and the community that's been so supportive of this team and the hockey community at large in Ohio. This has been what you've asked for.
I said this when they announced this, and I believed it at the time, and only how they've defied logic this season has changed my mind on it. I thought this was too soon. I did. I thought we wouldn't be good enough. I thought it was going to be a situation where you were still going to be a bottom dweller, that these guys weren't going to be ready to be at this level. So I had that wrong. I did. I thought you did it too soon. I think they were holding off. There was a couple of things, right? Obviously, the winter conditioning at the Shoe was a part of it. Then the other thing was you wanted to make sure that the game would matter. I mean, we talked, and Porty will join us at 11:30, but we talked about with him a lot. Like, that game has to matter. And he said, I remember when we set expectations for this season, he said, be relevant so that game matters. Well, it couldn't be more relevant, and it couldn't matter more. But that's only because they defied logic.
I understand it from the NHL's aspect, right? You would want the best product on the ice. Even if the Jackets were the worst team in the league, this thing was going to be huge because people have talked about it and dreamed about it and wanted it for so long. But right now, this is a perfect storm. Not only do you have a team that is defying the expectations, whose over-under before the season was 68.5 points. And if they win tomorrow, they'll be at 68 with over a month left in the season. The whole Johnny Gaudreau thing as well, them overcoming that. But you're doing this off of the heels of the Four Nations and what a success that was. And it's two teams tied in the standings. This couldn't be any better for the NHL right now.
I think for every reason you said, though, that's what makes it. It was always going to matter to us here locally because we've wanted it for a long time and clamored for it. But now you have the national perspective. This is an ESPN game too, right?
I think Sean McDonough's doing the play-by-play.
Okay, so that's something that we talked about. You remember when the Major League Baseball and ESPN split and Major League Baseball let them out of that deal? And we've heard a lot of people talk about the amount of push. You just had the bite yesterday. It was from Bug Scamby. Had the bite about how baseball needs ESPN more than ESPN needs baseball. Same is true of the NHL. And so you're going to get their full promotional push. You've already seen it. You've seen it throughout this week. If you're just bouncing around watching college basketball on ESPN or whatever, NBA, whatever, I saw it on the Lakers-Mavs game on, was that Tuesday night? Like you started to see the push from them that this was coming. So you're getting that full push of this thing, which is quite honestly very, very cool. So it's all of the boxes are being checked. We'll have much more on the game coming up at 11:30 with Porty. Will Howard just spoke within the last half hour at the NFL Scouting Combine. Our Steph Odie got a exclusive one-on-one with Will. Let's have a listen.
Well, coming to the Combine, you get to be roommates with a former teammate in Emeka Ibuka, but lots of you guys are here. And how does it feel to have that brotherhood in the next level?
It's awesome. It's kind of like a Ohio State reunion a little bit, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been nice to see all the boys and I feel like I'm seeing an Ohio State guy around every corner here, and it's a lot of fun, man. It's a true brotherhood, and we're gonna have these relationships for the rest of our lives.
Moving on to the next level isn't exclusive to just teammates. You also have your offensive coordinator moving on to the next level. Have there been any conversations about maybe pairing back up? I know they're looking for a quarterback as well.
I mean, I would love the opportunity. Don't know what's gonna happen yet, but I love Chip, and like I said, I would be chomping at the bit to go get back with him.
Lots of words for this upcoming Ohio State team. They got to replenish a lot. What can you say to Ohio State fans wondering what's this going to look like? They have Brian Hartline stepping in, new quarterback, and Julian Sayin.
I'm excited, man. I think I don't think there's any reason that they should have any step back. I know we lost a lot of guys, but Julian's a hell of a talent. You got the best offensive player returning in the country. You got the best defensive player returning in the country. You got a ton of O-linemen returning. I think those two tackles that we got in the portal are unbelievable. Just being around them, I think there's a lot of things to be excited about. And Coach Hart, I'm excited for him. Billy Fessler, really excited for him. And, I didn't get to spend much time around Coach Patricia, but I think there's a lot of things to be excited about for the team next year. And I'll be pulling for him and following along all year.
All right, great stuff with Steph and Will from over in Indy. Tim May in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And though I generally talk about medicine and effective treatments for erectile dysfunction and other men's sexual health issues, today I want to talk about love. Because love is the best reason to get treated for your ED. You see, ED can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, arguments, breakups, and even contribute to divorce. But the good news is that if you're like most men suffering with ED, you can be successfully treated at Tri-State Men's Health and put a stop to the relationship stresses that ED can cause. I say this with all confidence because we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Truly, it's likely you'll find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get the love back in your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
And he is a great friend of the program. He is the great Tim May, the Tim May Show podcast, joining us, and of course, right here at the Fan on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We have a Stadium Series game tomorrow. The Arnold's in town. You've been here a while now. When I ask you what's the biggest sporting event this city's ever hosted, or among them, leave Ohio State football out of it.
Oh, man. I think the women's Final Four many years ago when Notre Dame pulled off, and UConn got upset, and then Notre Dame pulled it off, and that was
that a buzzer beater?
I don't remember. I think it was. I was sitting there courtside. Now it's all a blur to me, but it was a hell of a game. The championship game was, and the crowd was. It was a packed crowd there at Nationwide, and it was the crowd was into it. That was pretty sweet. But I'm telling you, Tennessee, Ohio State, for all kinds of reasons, in December last year, I know people hate to hear that, but yeah, I almost said a bad word there. The bull in the corral, or the bull in the fence, is still Ohio State football. And when they play a game of that magnitude, obviously the games have been huge. The game of the century in 2006, but this one was a rebirth of a great football team in a matter of one season, and that was pretty cool, Bo.
Do you have a point of reference on the 1987 Ryder Cup?
No, because I didn't help cover that. I know it was a big deal. Golf is interesting because I think it's a big deal because I love golf. But there are some people who don't give could not care less about golf. And so I don't, even the ratings, when they have a big rating, it's not like you say, sometimes it's not even close to an average NFL game in some respects, and so I don't think I'd ever put a golf event over a place where you've got 105,000 people. It's
just meant from the
and they're all
perspective
cheering.
of what Dublin was like. I just was trying to think of like the world coming to town.
Yeah. Yeah, it is the world coming to town, but it's mainly the elite of the world coming to town. It's kind of like, if you're into equestrian events, the one they used to have out at the Wexners, maybe they still do, but that equestrian event out there was huge because it brought a lot of international people to town. But it was a very, narrow clip of humanity, for want of another term. But of course, I like it, and my wife and daughter love it because they're into that.
What do you wasn't there?
I went antiquing with my wife the first time I retired. I went antiquing with her one time, and everybody was there, loved it, but not necessarily yours truly.
Not necessarily you. What about was there an IndyCar race in the 80s?
No, there was the Columbus 500. They started in 1985. Only ran 4 years, and it really fell off. It really fell off after Jim Truman died in the second year. The guy who founded Red Roof Inns, but more importantly to me, founded True Sports, and Bobby Rahal's race team owner when he won the Indy 500 in '86. But of course, he passed away 11 days after that win. But it was a tremendous event for the first couple of years because it was something new, and then it kind of waned. And street races are like that for the most part. They come and go because people get tired of giving up their city streets for a week or so.
Obviously it happened in Tokyo, but Buster beating Mike is an all-time.
Yeah, that was all the way. Now the parade afterwards, after we got back, I remember when I was sitting with Buster on the plane when we landed in Columbus on coming back, we connected in Chicago, and there were thousands of people at Port Columbus. And I remember I think it was Channel 4 came on the plane, and they were asking me questions, and I'm just going, "Hey, the guy you want to talk to is right over there."
That's right there.
But I remember walking through the terminal when we landed in Chicago O'Hare. We were on Japan Airlines, and John Johnson could make things happen. And but we had the whole. If you've been on a Boeing 747, but they have an upper deck, right behind the cockpit, and Japan Airlines reserved the upper deck just for the party, for want of another term, and they included me in it of about 25, 30 people who had come back from there. And then as I got off the plane, I was walking down through O'Hare, through the concourse, and I was going, "Buster Douglas is coming. Buster Douglas is coming." Kind of like Paul Revere. And all these people started whatever. And all of a sudden they formed kind of a gauntlet he had to walk through, to get to customs. It was pretty sweet.
That's very, very cool. Hey,
sometimes you got to create your own buzz. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah, and that
you're not going to believe how the people reacted in Chicago to this.
That is an all-time sports moment. That moment is an
hell yeah, buddy. That's one of my top three. That's for sure.
You've had a hell of a month on the Tim May Show. You had Ryan Day on this week. You had now Lieutenant Governor Jim. Isn't that something? He's Lieutenant Governor. What did you learn? What did you learn from those two guys, especially in those conversations you had with now our Lieutenant Governor and with Coach Day this week?
Yeah, the favorite part about the deal with Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer was me asking them, how do you deal with this now? Because, it's kind of like Sir Edmund Hillary. I think he only climbed Everest one time, but his Sherpa guy probably did it 10, so that's the guy who really should get some credit, Tenzing Norgay or whatever his name was.
That's exactly it.
But the interesting part is as Jim Tressel said, is he made everybody read the book. If it's not broke, that old line, if it's not broke, don't fix it. The book he made them read was the counterculture book to that. If it's not broke, break it. Meaning it's a brand new year now. And that's what, Ryan brought that up in our little conversation. I had like 20 minutes with him. I totally enjoyed it. And, but he brought up the fact, it's a new team now. I mean, look at the guys over at the Combine. You're losing 8 starters on the defensive side. All of them were stellar. All of them were upper elite in terms of that. And now you're replacing them. You've got some great talent on that team running around right now doing mat drills or whatever it is they're doing during the winter, getting ready for spring. But the bottom line is what you just did really, except for bragging points, has little to do with what's coming. And that's the main point, because now you've created this frenzy. Now you got to feed it, and it's still amazing to me, Bo, what this team was, what this group, including the coaches, what they were on December the 1st. Like I've told you that before. I've thought the coaching job Ryan Day did from December the 1st to January 20th was the greatest I've ever seen, ever witnessed. And there have been some good ones because, he had all the talent and stuff, but that team was down in the dumps. That meeting was choice because, as I said to him, John Voight and Varsity Blues, he went the wrong way, with that halftime meeting, right? He did. And Ryan went the other way. You got to find the button. Every machine has different buttons, and they found the button, man, and it's crazy. But now it's a brand new challenge with a new starting quarterback, a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, right on down the line. But would any of those guys have been gone hardly if it was up on December the 1st? What they did for themselves and their careers and their reputations is legend now from December the 1st to January 20th. I mean, Chip Kelly's now the offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders. Was anybody going to hire him the day after the Michigan game? When, as Ryan even said in my interview, that was not a good plan they had, offensively. And so Yeah, that run resurrected a lot of things.
Well, I think the two people who have benefited most from that run are probably Chip and potentially Will Howard.
Yes.
Because the way he was viewed, and then he went on a stretch. I don't know if you know this or not. You might. That I found this out this week. If you eliminate screen passes from college football last year, Will Howard had the highest completion percentage in college football.
Yeah, and people see. Here's the thing: you get stuck with a first impression. Some people do, or the last impression. They don't take into account what happens after that. In my opinion, he was by far the best quarterback in the playoffs. Right. I mean, without a doubt.
Not close.
Running back wise, the tandem was untouchable. The tandem, it was. I'm talking about Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. Everybody would like to have a tandem like that after watching them play against elite competition the last 4 games of the year. Look what Tyleek Williams in that defensive front did. Jack Sawyer is a legend, and right on down the line. But you're right. I think the guy who helped himself the most compared to the way he was being perceived even a month earlier is Will Howard. I expect him to go high in this draft. I'm not saying first round high, but I think his accuracy is an accurate representation of where he can go, because that was the one thing that was really lacking from his repertoire when he rolled into Ohio State. But as he kept trying to tell everybody, hey, I'm throwing to a lot better guys now, a lot more talented guys now than I was at Kansas State. And he didn't have to run as much, and hey, the main thing is he answered the bell 16 straight games.
Yeah.
He
was
remarkable.
The run he had through the postseason was to be the best quarterback on the field when you're going with Gabriel and Ewers and all the way.
Don't you think, real quick before you go, I mean, we said this after 2014-15 championship. They got to do something about these national awards being presented in the month of early.
You're a
Heisman
voter. I'm a Heisman voter. I'm with you. I think you got to put it. I don't think you want to end up like the NBA when you have these, Dirk Nowitzki winning the MVP and then he's bounced in the first round. Like I do think that you need to have. I mean, it's a quarter of the season, Tim.
I know it really is, Bo. And and on top of that, even Coach of the Year, I'm not sure anybody did a better job of like, are you kidding me, than Curt Cignetti, at Indiana. But then when you look at, Ryan Day had all the pieces, they just had to finally put them together. But when you look at how that team steamrolled through the playoffs against 4 of the better teams you could ever line up in front of them. I mean, the number 1 team in the country, they whacked the team that had beaten them, for example. 3rd best team in the SEC. And of course, what they did to Texas at Texas. Really. I mean, they're in the heart of Texas.
Absolutely.
And of course, against Notre. But I mean, nobody did a better coaching job in the postseason than Ryan Day. Maybe they need to have that one. The postseason award. Maybe name it the Nick Saban Award until Ryan wins another one.
There you go. All right, buddy. Good talking to you as always.
Always a pleasure. You know that, Bo. I'm on from 9 to noon tomorrow, and then from noon to 3 on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to getting my voice in shape.
There we go. The great Tim May of the Tim May Show podcast and right here at the Fan, joining us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We hit Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts, it's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay. Things people love.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on the Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is the Daily Show with Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. Everybody's dealing with it, not just athletic teams, and that's illnesses. But, Jake, it gives us an opportunity asking for you to blow the horn of your training staff and your doctors and all the things they do all the time.
Yeah, we have a great performance team, and that includes our training staff, our team doctors, and their ability. We've certainly been faced with a great deal of illness and injury, but I can't even imagine what it would be like if we didn't have that team with us, because what they're able to do to help guys get better quickly and get access to whatever care they need is really, really, truly beneficial. We're blessed to have them, and they do a great job.
I have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, and Cova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams, the agile, get it done teams, the achieve more together teams, and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
One of the things we get to see by traveling with you guys, Jake, is the fact that you have a nutritionist that travels with you, and you've talked before a lot about the importance of guys eating right. Is that something that just continues to be a top-of-mind topic?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a lot that goes into getting yourself ready to play on game day. Nutrition's a real part of it, and the importance of it throughout the course of the year. And, you know, we're able to get guys, you know, specific goals because everybody has different needs. And that's a benefit of having a great, you know, dietitian and nutrition staff. That's a big part of our performance team.
Yeah, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Come cheer on the Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team as they take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers at the Shot on March the 4th. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets and gear up for game day at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Get President's Day deals all month long at Coughlin Ford. Get a new 2024 Ford F-150 for as low as $37,900. New 2024 Ford Super Duties starting at under $48,000. Or take $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2024 Broncos. Visit CoughlinFord.com.
All factory rebates to dealer. All prior sales excluded. In-stock units only. No security deposit required. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. Ends 3/3/25.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And time for a little thing or not a thing on a Friday edition. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Never one to miss out on discussing drama. The Inside the NBA crew on TNT last night addressed the Ian Rappaport, Jordan Schultz Combine Coffee Kerfluffle from Wednesday.
I'm in a good mood, man.
Why is that?
Well, because I was at Starbucks today.
And?
It's dangerous in there, Ernie. There's fish flying everywhere. I was like, see, I don't normally go to Starbucks because that's where rich white folks go. I used to get
rich white folks go.
Yeah, I love to go with black folks.
That's the place where
that's
apparently it's where a lot of reporters go.
Apparently,
$2 coffee is where you have to be rich.
Ain't no $2 coffee. They should be drinking Folgers like the rest of us do.
Oh my God! Hey, you know we're in the presence. Hey, Jordan Schultz of Fox verbally accosted Ian Rappaport of NFL Media at an Indianapolis Starbucks on Wednesday afternoon. The report was made to NFL security.
Shaq, you see that kind of word they use? Accosted.
Yeah,
accosted. Whooping his ass. That's what happened.
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, if you stop talking now, Jordan. Get that Frappuccino thing right next time.
Hey, you know we're in the presence of royalty tonight. What?
What's that?
You know what's funny about that story? What is?
I've been knowing Jordan for a long time. Of course, his father's Howard Schultz. He could have owned all the franchise, but he decided to go a different route. I've always respected Jordan for that. But yeah, Jordan, hope you got it.
Ian. I got Ian in this one.
May 19th.
Let's do it. Hey, we'll let them go first as a warm-up, then me and you go.
Thing or not a thing.
That's why the show's so beloved. Is that, right? That's the beauty of it. Are they locked in for ESPN next year? Like,
I don't think all of them are.
Are they all? I know Chuck still has a contract, and Shaq has Shaq got done. I don't know where they are with Kenny. Like, the last I heard was that they were taking Inside and just taking it to ESPN.
So it's going to appear. I think I know they did a partnership with TNT and ESPN.
Right.
So I think they're going to appear on various games.
Man, that'd be a huge thing if they didn't, because they need to keep that crew together. It's just there's always something funny between all those guys, and they make it light, fun and easy, and it's entertaining to watch.
Yeah, it was part of that agreement that's going to allow Turner to show 13 Big 12 football games and 15 men's basketball games. TNT is also going to begin, or is going to continue, airing some college football playoff first rounders. So,
and then in exchange, inside the NBA, that group will be
on ESPN.
On ESPN, yeah. That'll be. I mean, they've never done a finals, guys. They've never done an NBA finals.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I hope they get that chance, because that's the best program that the three letters NBA. That's the most entertaining thing. Is inside the NBA.
Yeah, and I think them never have done a finals. It's right there with like Dickie V never doing a Final Four or an NCAA game. I mean, he's done NCAA games because ESPN used to have the first round, but not doing a Final Four. And CBS reached out to Vital and ESPN, and Vital said thanks, but no thanks, because his loyalty was to ESPN. But he's never done a Final Four.
And yesterday, during the NFL Network's coverage of the Combine, Rich Eisen introduced one of the two members of that kerfuffle, Ian Rappaport.
There is one other member of our broadcast team we've got to bring in. And he is the Jake Paul of NFL Network. Lots of buzz. He's trending with no punches thrown. Ian Rappaport. Rap sheet?
Thank you, Rich. Yeah, I would say I'm
He looks a little under-caffeinated, actually, to be honest.
No, I'm properly caffeinated. A lot of great coffee brands. Dunkin' does a really nice job. Nice. Actually is a fantastic coffee. I could go on and on about the coffee brands that I love. That's not for right now. Let's talk right now about Abdul Carter.
Thing or not a thing?
I'm gonna give some credit where it's due on Rappaport. And I talked about the self-importance these guys have this week, especially. Like, they have it anyway, but they really have it this week when you're over there. I think the sense of humor on this is a 10 out of 10. I think it's really cool to, like, lean into it. Now, I haven't seen Schultz do anything. I don't know what he's leaning into, or I haven't seen that. But Rappaport leaning into the fun of it, I think, is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Good on the NFL Network to poke some fun at it. And Rappaport in there throwing the Duncan reference in. Yeah. Beautiful. I'm actually plenty caffeinated. All of it was great. I mean, anything to have some entertainment. It's all out there, right? You can't avoid it. Everybody knows, so why not lean into it and have a little fun?
That security camera footage has got to be somewhere. And TMZ's got to pick up on that. Hopefully in the next couple of days, we're able to see exactly what it looked like. Like, we've heard people's eyewitness accounts from it, but that's the game of telephone. Like, I want to see what this thing looked like.
Schultz is, I have not seen Schultz in person. I've seen Rappaport a lot in person. I would imagine they're in different weight classes.
Yeah, one feels flyweight, the other maybe light heavyweight or welterweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Schultz is a decent-sized dude.
Yeah.
So we had talked about Diana Rossini's reporting earlier this morning about the Rams and meeting with Matthew Stafford today regarding the future of both parties. Raiders and Giants have also reportedly discussed a 2-year contract for Stafford that includes about $90 to $100 million in guarantees. From yesterday, USA Today's Art Stapleton wrote that he's pretty certain the Giants are going to make an aggressive effort to acquire the number 1 overall pick in a trade with the Titans if they're not able to land Matt Stafford. Thing or not a thing? Giants are at 3 right now.
And it wouldn't take much. I mean, it would take the 3 and probably a third rounder. Might do it. And I'll tell you what, if you're the Cleveland Browns and you hear word that this is happening, or furthermore, if you're Joe Schoen, who somehow is still the general manager of the New York Giants, or I'm sorry, not the New York, that's right, Schoen's with the Giants. If you are the general manager of the Tennessee Titans, the first call you make once the Giants make that offer is to Cleveland and say, do you want it more? That's what you do. And if you're Cleveland, you should want it more. You should. I don't know where they're leaning, but you're going to like one more than the other. And they are so uniquely positioned with Kevin Stefanski's familiarity with Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator of Colorado, and then Glenn Cook, who's an assistant general manager with the Browns. He played at Miami and is really clued into what they're doing down at the U. So, like, they know. I think it's impossible for them to like them the same. They have to have one they like more than the other, and they need to make sure they get the one they like most.
Yeah, I think this is a thing because of what you said, Bo, when you got back, that the Titans are open for business on this number 1 pick. They don't want either of these quarterbacks. They're looking to trade out of it. So if the Giants, they like one of these guys enough and they want to go get him, or if Matt Stafford's their guy, go address your quarterback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Final hour of the program coming up next. We begin it with what we learned at 11:30. Porty on the history-making Stadium Series game tomorrow at the Shoe. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, the Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Good morning, beat freaks. Who's ready to move? Let's start this day right.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
It's our President's Day sales event all month long.
This event is big. You choose your rate. 0%, 1.9%, 2.9%, and up to a full 60 months on so many new Lindsay Hondas. And no trade-in required. This deal works with 0 down. 2025 CRVs and Ridgelines. Both only $299 a month. That's $299 a month. Visit LindsayHonda.com because this February is the time to
keep more presidents in your wallet with Lindsay Honda.
See LindsayHonda.com for details.
If you're like most Americans, you've racked up tens of thousands in credit card debt. You're stuck with 20% interest fees, and even the monthly payments, well, they're hard to make. It's insane. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. The good news is that there is a way out. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending. They specialize in fast, easy access to the equity in your home. Most homeowners have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their home equity. That's your money. AFLcash.com can get it out for you with 0 junk fees and 0 hassle. You can pay off all those credit cards in just a matter of days. Pay off your car loans too. Cut your monthly expenses by 8 or even $900. I'm telling you, the relief you need, well, it's right there at your fingertips. AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Break out of the credit card debt prison with AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on Post cereal or Kroger brand peanut butter. Select varieties are only $1.49 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Will Howard says he can be the guy for any NFL franchise that drafts him. The Buckeyes national champion signal caller spoke earlier this morning at the league's scouting combine in Indianapolis. Defensive backs are working out today. That includes Ohio State's Lathan Ransom, Jordan Hancock, and Denzel Burke. They're doing a hockey game tomorrow at Ohio Stadium. The Blue Jackets and Red Wings will skate Saturday at 6 p.m. with serious playoff implications on the line. Both teams are tied in points for the first wildcard spot in the East. Jackets won in Detroit last night 5-2. A Jackets win tomorrow would put them in sole possession of that wild card. You can hear the Stadium Series matchup on the Fan with pregame coverage starting Saturday at noon. In the NBA tonight, the Cavaliers are in Boston versus the Celtics at 7:30. Cleveland's on an 8-game winning streak and has the best record in the association at 48-10. Cavs will host the Blazers on Sunday. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Porty coming up in about a half hour. We kick off the final hour of the program with a little refresher. What did we learn this week? Hit it, fellas.
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
I think in terms of the big event tomorrow, which we will have you covered for, you guys noon to 3?
Correct. From what is traditionally the Ozone Tailgate on Lane. The NHL has taken that over for their pre-party. We are in a shipping container, noon to 3, and then Rothman, Jeff Rimmer, 3 to 5.
That's a home run. What's going to be so cool is I hope that the weather is deal-with-able enough that it's not too, I hope the wind can be not too obtuse in its performance. That would be nice if we got a little bit of a nice one. Because I think when you start to see 90,000 people around there on March 1st, that's going to be a win for everybody. But I think what we learned this week is timing is everything. And it feels like all of the stars aligned perfectly for this event tomorrow. The idea that this Jackets team is red hot coming into it, the idea that these two teams are tied with the exact same point total, 66 apiece, coming into it. Bake, you had it earlier in the program. The Jackets over-under was at 68?
68.5 going into the season.
And you possibly could get that, on tomorrow. So, and I think just the realization that because you don't know. You go to a Four Nations, and what's this going to look like? You start to get all these guys coming back, and how are they going to and they're not all back, by the way. Monahan hasn't played. But all of these guys starting to come back, and then for them to carry this momentum, and it's not just Blue Jackets momentum, but that's primarily what we're concerned about, but it's also NHL momentum to go from a Four Nations into this. That what you learn in sports is you can have the best plans, the best laid out plans, but you need a little bit of luck. And we've got a lot of luck that aligns some stars for this thing tomorrow. And I think that's going to contribute to, honestly, like a once-in-a-lifetime situation tomorrow at the Shoe.
I thought going into this week, coming out of the Four Nations break, that Dean Evison, Don Waddell were the right hires for this Blue Jackets organization. After last night's win in Detroit, I'm confident enough to say that those are the two men that'll lead this team to become a serious cup contender. And much sooner than I think anybody could have realized on this. Last night could have been a look-ahead game where you had all the pomp and circumstance before Saturday's game. You had the moms that were all with the players on this trip. That could have been something, you go down early, very easily just be like, all right, we'll pack it in. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But that's a team with attitude. That's a team with fight. And that's a team with actual results from the fight and from the effort.
It's interesting you talk about Don Waddell, and he just seems to be like so rejuvenated and re-energized being here with the Jackets. Tom Dunda, he did everything for the Carolina Hurricanes. He ran all the business side of it and the general manager. And they did a poll in The Athletic last week, maybe, with agents around the league. And all of the agents had Tom Dundon as one of the worst owners because he had his hands in everything and was so difficult to deal with. So coming here to Columbus, it seems like Don is really rejuvenized, and he's done that for this franchise as well. I'll stick with the Jackets theme here on things we learned this week. We learned that the Jackets have the best top line in all of hockey. That was according to The Athletic. They did a thing where they matched up all of the top lines in the NHL. So what they did with that for the Jackets was they basically did it when Kirill Marchenko was on the ice. So if it was Sean Monahan as the center or Adam Fantilli here recently, they did the goals for and against per 60 minutes. So if they would play 60 minutes a game, the Jackets had a goals for of 4.22, highest in the league. It looks like 3.91 was the next, and then goals against 1.68. That's a differential of 2.54. The Vegas Golden Knights were next at 1.81. So the Jackets not only have the best top line, it's not even close.
Is Marchenko, he's near the top in plus minus in the whole league, is he not?
I know that before he broke his jaw, he was number one. And heading into last night's game, he was a plus 33. Pulling it up
He's
now.
Second in the league right now behind Ryan McDonough from Tampa Bay. Marchenko's 34. McDonough is 36. Brandon McNabb from Vegas is 30.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's all coming together. The other big, I think, topic of the week is obviously the NFL Combine. Joining you guys from over there on Wednesday for a couple of hits. And we talk a lot about consensus being built. And a consensus was built at the top of the draft with the two quarterbacks that the better ball of clay is Cam Ward, the more ready, especially in regard to the Cleveland Browns, might actually be Shedeur Sanders. But Kevin Stefanski was adamant that is not necessarily how he views it, and his job as the head coach is to build an offense around the talent of the position. One of the things I asked Kevin about was, how do you value the personality of a player in the drafting of them? And he said it's obviously huge, because when you draft somebody this high, especially if it is a quarterback, you're talking face of the franchise stuff. So that is something that they will value a lot in this. For the Cleveland Browns, this is a life raft. The number 2 pick is a life raft. It's a get out of jail free card. You were in a spot that it was hard to find a way out of it. And now there is a way out of it if you land on this pick at number 2. And it's my opinion they should do whatever is necessary to make sure they get the quarterback that they want. Do not leave it to chance, because they were in this spot in 16. They had 2 quarterbacks in that draft at the top. It was Carson Wentz and it was Jared Goff. They loved Goff and wanted to take Goff at 2. And they allowed the Rams, of all people, to trade with Tennessee, of all people, to get the number 1 pick. And once that happened, they were not interested in the Carson Wentz business, and they traded out. If you love one more than the other, by God, go get him. All the while, they're dealing with the Myles Garrett stuff, which is still out there. The other thing that is still out there this week, which really hit like a powder keg in the middle of the week and even into last night, was the Matthew Stafford stuff. I'm seeing some reporting from Ian Rappaport over there this morning that says it's leaning more and more likely that Stafford will remain with the Rams. That was my feeling all week. I've said that multiple times, that I think that they have to. They are, of the teams that are in on him, the Giants and the Raiders, the Rams situation is is a far cleaner, better situation than either one of them. They're closer. They just won the division. They played Philly closer than anybody. Like, that's the spot I would want to stay. And if it's 90, 100 million guaranteed, that's fine, I would think, from the Rams' perspective.
It's a savvy move by their front office to say, you can go ahead and talk to people, like, see what your market's going to look like. And likely thinking the same way that the same conclusion you came to was, you're going to find we're the better situation, or we are the best situation for you right now. And, playing in Los Angeles doesn't stink either. You also learned coming back from the Combine that the Arnold Classic's in town this weekend.
Oh, baby.
Culminating in a monstrous, mammoth, massive weekend downtown Columbus. So
you just see humans that you just would never see in the wild. I mean, it's kind of like, it's such a cool thing. I love that it's here. It's such a cool thing that it's here. We're so proud of it, obviously. But it's a little bit like you're in the Serengeti. Like, you just have never seen, you just don't see people walking around this size normally.
The literal mountain's going to try to break the deadlift world record on Sunday.
Is that happening?
That's happening Sunday. Yeah, so he's got the world record right now at 501 kilos,
Jeez.
Which is a little over 1,100 pounds.
God.
He's going to try to break it Sunday. Like, it starts at 12:15, I think, but the literal mountain you could just run into at late night, Mikey's late night slice, although he probably won't eat that this weekend.
That's not the only thing, though, that we learned from Bo returning from the Combine. Maybe the most important thing we learned this week, Uranus Fudge has expanded.
Oh, my God.
And they're on the border of Ohio now in Richmond, Indiana.
I told this it was Man, Bone, and Jen. Jen, I swear to God, was about ready to get in her car and go there the moment I told her the story. It's not only is Uranus Fudge on the state border between Ohio and Indiana now, it is right next to a cross the size of the Empire State Building. And in between the cross and the world's, quote, largest fireworks display. Also, memo to Governor DeWine, the Welcome to Ohio signs need to be updated. It still has John Husted as your lieutenant governor. We got to get the vest.
Tisk, tisk.
Yeah, we got to get the vest up on the signs, kids. We learned that, too. We also learned that Indiana doesn't give two damns about potholes or freeways or anything. They are disinterested in improving their roadways in any way, shape, or form. That part we did as well. Yeah, that is, I think I have to go to Indianapolis this summer for lacrosse. I think I do. When my 13-year-old, he's right. When my 13-year-olds sees that sign, the best fudge is in Uranus.
You're going to have to stop and get some.
I almost did this time.
Or a T-shirt or something, like some piece of Uranus merchandise.
Maybe we can have a Bishop and Friends remote at Uranus.
I feel like
live from Uranus.
I'm going to tell you right now, Man and Bone are going to beat us to that.
I'm tired of getting beat for stuff. Let's get on the forefront of this.
It is more their lane. It's potty humor and food, and it's like, we're not
or
that.
Bob.
Yeah. Well,
this is our story, though.
The thing about it is, I trust Man and Bone not to get thrown off the air. You put Bob in that situation, and like the FCC license is in danger.
Yeah, I think that's very much in play. Aaron Portzline coming up in 17 minutes. The Buckeyes at the NFL Scouting Combine. Some very interesting conversation about the quarterbacks going forward and looking ahead to next year. We'll get into that. Hear from them on what has been a very good week for the Buckeyes over in Indy coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
College
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Are you looking for a new ride? And do you want the best experience and service in the city? Yes? Good. Go see my guys at Jermaine Lexus. The all-new 2025 TX is back in stock and arriving daily. Plus, they've got great 42-month leases for the 2025 NX350 all-wheel drive. It started $399 a month. I have been a Jermaine customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please do stop in. Jermaine Lexus, 2 locations, Dublin, Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
Winter's here, and as the snow begins to pile up outside, you might find yourself dreaming of warmer days, sunshine, barbecues, fishing, maybe even thinking about those home projects you've been putting off for forever. Why wait for spring to start planning? Now's the perfect time to get ahead. With so many roofing, gutter, and siding companies out there, it can feel overwhelming to know where to begin. With over 30 years of experience and a focus on every detail, Newman Roofing makes it simple. As a family-owned business, they're dedicated to delivering an outstanding customer experience from your first phone call all the way through to the final touches on your home. When it comes to roofing, gutters, and siding, trust the name that's been a local favorite for decades, Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF. 614-NEW-ROOF. Or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. As football winds down, college basketball is gearing up, and fans are ready to see which teams will prove they are ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get on all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 and get $100 back in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app. Sign up with the promo code Radio100 to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything's possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
You're invited to Circle K's Inner Circle Members Celebration. On March 6th, Inner Circle members across Columbus will get an exclusive 40 cents off per gallon from 6 a.m. until 11:59 p.m. Want to join the party? Just download the Circle K app and create an account to join Inner Circle. Don't miss your chance to save 40 cents off per gallon on March 6th all day. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit the Circle K app for details.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Do it now.
Ohio has over 920,000 diabetics. If you are a diabetic, take a step in the right direction by having your feet checked routinely by a podiatric physician, the most qualified doctors to care for your feet. Adding a podiatrist to your healthcare team can help you better manage the effects of diabetes on your feet. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
February is Children's Dental Health Month, so make sure you make an appointment for your child to visit an Ohio Dental Association member dentist. ODA member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and have access to superior ongoing education and training. On your next visit, ask if your child's dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit oda.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Expect windy conditions this afternoon with southwesterly winds sustained around 25 miles per hour, potentially gusting up to 50 miles per hour. We have a wind advisory set until 7 o'clock this evening. And with those southwesterly winds, we'll boost up to the mid-50s for highs this afternoon under mostly sunny skies. Tonight, I expect increasing clouds as we fall through the 50s and into the 40s. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Erica Calora.
1, 2, 3. Here at the Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan. After putting up with Tom Taberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Aaron Portzline coming up in about 12 minutes on the Stadium Series game tomorrow in this Jacket season to this point. Buckeyes over at the Combine. One of the things that we're on the cusp of now, we're a couple of weeks away from spring ball starting, and obviously center of all of that will be the quarterback battle between Julian Sayin, Lincoln Kienholz, and potentially even Tavian St. Clair if he can get up to speed really, really quickly. But obviously the front runner on this thing is Julian Sayin. I mean, the whispers around Sayin weren't exactly like the whispers around Jeremiah Smith, but they were in that realm. And so the best way to know about what a guy is to talk to people who saw it firsthand. And among them are a bunch of these Buckeyes who are over at the Combine. Denzel Burke among them. He was available in terms of talking about Sayin in the quarterback room. Here's Denzel Burke.
I think Julian that guy, to be honest with you. So, and Lincoln's pretty good too. So, I'm great. I'm ready to see this little matchup they're gonna have. But Julian is a great player, great stiff on the ball, great pocket presence. He's gonna have a good career.
When did you know that Julian could be that?
I mean, a couple practices in when he first got here, just the way he's throwing the ball, how he's to himself, how he's all about ball. I can just tell.
A couple other things from the guys over there. Heard Will Howard this morning talking about with Julian in regard to was kind of a quiet kid to begin with, but is starting to step up on the leadership side of things. The other thing that was jumped out to me was Emeka Buka saying that Julian Sayin kind of had that it factor similar to the way Jeremiah did. So that's everything that we heard. I mean, those are the whispers we've been hearing about Julian Sayin since he arrived. That I remember even when we were doing the live shows out at training camp. And the conversation around Sayin was like, all right, Will Howard's going to be the guy here, even though they haven't announced that yet. But wait till you get a load of number 10. So that's kind of the thing that's out there. Dom is on the Buckeye Cruise. Ryan Day is on the Buckeye Cruise. And we have some of their conversation about the quarterbacks in spring. Let's have a listen to that.
I think the thing for that whole quarterback room is they've been able to see what great leadership looks like and what Will did this season. And now it's time for those guys to step up. And so it's going to be a great spring.
Little more even keel for Ryan. Let's get it quick. Keep. He's got to. I do think that when you open with Texas, and we'll have all summer to talk about this, but when you open with Texas, you've got to be. I don't think you can have this quarterback competition lasting well into August. I think by the time you're done with spring, you better have a guy.
You do, and you also have to have both or all three quarterbacks ready at a moment's notice to go in and not only just like keep the ship in the water, but operate at a high level. So I think it is more so than in years past important to have the quarterback 2, quarterback 3 ready to go and be the elevator, because it won't just be a situation where, okay, we can kind of, wade into the season a little bit. Like, you got to go at Texas. And while the playoffs shown that you can have an oopsie daisy or two for your season, game 1, be tough.
Beating Texas isn't – it's not that critical, as we found out last year in the playoff. Like, you can lose. That's okay. But I think what is critical is that whoever the starter is, and the presumptive favorite obviously is saying, what is critical is the experience of playing in a game like that. Because that game is going to have the lead up, the build up, the eyeballs, the attention that would probably only otherwise be matched in the Michigan game and in the college football playoff. Well, the Penn State game's going to have that kind of juice to it too, because Penn State's returning a lot of guys. So like they're going to be 3 monster games next year that everybody circles and the world pays attention to. But that first experience in the Texas game is critical to whoever wins that job. And that they have that experience. I mean, it's just a huge part of it. So, it'll be something that commences. When is spring? It starts second week of March.
March 17th. I want to say.
Oh, St. Patty's Day. Bold choice.
It's a Monday.
Yeah. The guy who they will be attempting to replace, or one of them actually will be replacing, is Will Howard. He is available over at the NFL Scouting Combine. We played some audio from Will and our own Steph Odie earlier in the show. One of the things that he was also asked at the podium was the idea of what he can provide to an NFL team. And we had Tim May on it at 10:30. And one thing he said is that, and I agreed with, that very few people helped their stock more than Will Howard over that last month. Here is Will on what he believes he can bring to the NFL.
Can be that guy for a team, and I truly believe that. I think I showed it as the season went on this year. It's not always going to be perfect, and I think I was able to show, through the times of adversity and bouncing back from that I was able to not let things get to me, and I was able to make elite throws and make decisions when the lights were the brightest. And I think I just hope that there's a team out there that falls in love with me, and I still have that chip on my shoulder, man. I'm always going to have that. I love being kind of the underdog and kind of coming from behind, and I think that's where I thrive and where I want to be.
I would say, with the exception of Cam Ward, no one improved their stock more than Will Howard this season in all of college football. More than Dylan Gabriel. I think Ewers kind of went backwards. Shadour's kind of exactly where everybody thought he would be. If you went back a year ago after the combine then, or if you went out, back 10 months ago and you went back to right after the NFL draft last year and you looked at the mocks, a lot of them, it was Shadour and Quinn were at the top of those draft boards. Shadour is still at the top of those draft boards. Quinn is not. He is throwing. Quinn is throwing over in Indianapolis this week. And I thought last week, I think I said on the show, I think it would be very smart for him to throw. I think he's one of the few guys who could actually gain from it. The reporting that you're hearing from over there is that he is now completely healthy and ready to throw. He's always been able to wow with arm talent. So I think there's an opportunity for him over there. I think that conversation around the second quarterback is going to be fascinating conversation. And I think the other part of this, and for us here locally, we're the home of the Browns, is what happens at the top of the draft. And if the Giants miss out on Matt Stafford, as it's feeling like they're going to, it seems like Stafford's going to stay, then will they pivot to number one overall, or will they go big game hunting for Sam Darnold or something like that? That will be the next thing that follows. And if you are the Browns, and Cam Ward was available today and spoke glowingly about the idea of being a franchise quarterback in Cleveland or anywhere, and you have one graded even slightly ahead of the other, I think you got to do everything in your power to go to one.
It's going to be interesting to see if Stafford does stay with the Rams, or they have not at least made a move by the draft. The Giants, the Raiders, who's going to be in the mix to jump up to that number one pick? Because as you said, Bo, that seems like the Titans are putting it out there that you can have it if you want it. And it'll be interesting to see if that causes the Browns to try to make a move up to number one. If there's one of these guys that they clearly like more than the other, if they go up and say, hey, this is our guy, we're taking that.
I think if you're going into the draft, I think all of these quarterback questions will be answered. Where's Stafford? Where's Rodgers? Where's Russ? Where's Daniel Jones? Is Derek Carr staying? Is Kirk Cousins staying? Where's Justin Fields? I think all of those questions will be answered before the draft. And that way, if you are, so the Giants will know, are we drafting a quarterback or have we already signed one? The Raiders will know. Do we need to be aggressive and go get a quarterback, or have we? It seems like they want to sign one. It doesn't feel like the Raiders have much interest in going to get a kid. It feels like they want to be more competitive right away with Pete Carroll at age 72. I get it. The Jets at 7. Do we have one, or do we need to go get one? Those are the teams to kind of pay attention to in this thing. Because I think those things will be sorted out long before the draft.
Yeah, I wonder with the Jets, could you get a team to give you a 1 for Aaron Rodgers?
No. Well, he's a free agent. He's gone. He can go anywhere he wants.
But could they sign him and trade him?
No. He can go anywhere he wants to.
Moving on.
I don't think you get a 6th for him right now. I think the market for him was kind of like, it was probably the Rams, and then I don't know. Like, if he doesn't end up with the Rams, I don't know what happens with him. I don't know where the landing spot is. Like, does he go to the Giants and stay in New York and stick it to the Jets? That'd be on brand.
The Steelers, the one that's always been brought up.
It does. Yeah, that's one that's there too. So, but I think all this quarterback stuff will get sorted out in the next couple of weeks. And the Stafford stuff, it sounds like, could be sorted out today. Porty, Stadium Series game, 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Do you realize making the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards, it'll take nearly 20 years to pay them off? What if I told you there's a way for you to get them all paid off in just a matter of weeks? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Imagine wiping out all of your credit cards. Here's where you go. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending is the easy button for tapping in to hundreds of thousands of dollars in your home equity. That's not the bank money, it's your money. Listen, your home, the value is way up. And now AFLcash.com has a super fast, hassle-free program that lets you turn that equity into cash. People who do this are living their best life, their credit card debt free, with cash left over for other stuff like home improvements, maybe a vacation. See how much money you can get now. Go to AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Say goodbye to greedy credit card companies. That's AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Accurate Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
And he joins on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline, our great friend Aaron Portzline at The Athletic. Big picture, and you've been around a long time, where does this Stadium Series game sit for you just in terms of Central Ohio events?
Yeah. You know, I've been thinking about that just from within the Blue Jackets realm. And the draft was great. The All-Star game was great. I think this is a notch. I mean, obviously the playoffs were great, 2019 especially. To me, this feels like this is a different thing than all of those. I think it's above the draft and the All-Star game. Certainly, I think it's going to be. It's such a unique event. It's such a special event. I think it's going to register. In terms of thinking of it like Columbus-wide, man, it's hard to even get your arms around like that because it is just a regular season NHL game, right? But it is such an event. I mean, 90,000 plus will be there. And you know, Bo, within like 5-10 years, there's going to be 150,000 people who say they were there. That's just how sports does. It's one of those events. It's going to be incredible to watch, and hopefully the weather abides and lets it be.
That's kind of the one thing. I was thinking like the 87 Ryder Cup and, you know, some of the USA-Mexico qualifiers that we've had. We've had women's Final Fours and those type of things. But it's got to be way, way up there, just the spectacle of it. And people, Jackets fans have wanted this for the longest time. And I said when they announced it for this year, and the Jackets proved me wrong on this. I thought this was too soon because I thought it was really critical that the Jackets were good, and they have so outpaced my expectations for what they would be. I think that's a critical component of this, isn't it?
Oh, for sure it is. And the league even has acknowledged that when they first announced this, they were like, what about the ticket sales? Like, where is everybody? Like, let's get going here. And I do think the way that this team has played, listen, it's the wins for sure. It's also the emotional attachment that so many people have to this team, given what they've been through, the way that they've played. They've seen a real swell here in the last month or so in terms of ticket sales, where they're now over 90,000. They think it's going to be sold out, whatever that number is. It is. What's going to make this really special beyond just the fact that it's an incredible setting and unique and all of those things. This game is now really big. It's a big game. I mean, Detroit and Columbus have the same number of points. The Red Wings are 7th in the East, the first wild card. The Blue Jackets have the second wild card. They're both in a playoff spot, but they're both fighting for their lives. With Ottawa, New York, Boston just behind them. I think 4 points now. So this is a really, really important game. In addition to being a really special situation that I think people are going to really love.
Well, Porty was also brilliant to play last night.
Yes. And you know what? I've been wondering, and I can't get a straight answer on this. I do think the NHL schedule makers think about things a lot more than people realize. I do think that why not give this game every opportunity to have spice? If it's within your control, do that. Now, this is the 5th time. So it's not unique in that respect. It's the 5th time that teams have played this outdoor game as part of a home and home with another team. But it's 43. They played 43 games now outdoors, and it's only happened 5 times. So it is pretty rare.
Yeah. What hurdles? What hurt? Like, who gets the credit for? I mean, not that we need one person necessarily, but how did this finally happen?
Well, I think there's a couple of things, and the cynic in me says that this probably gets expedited by the change at the top, president of the university, AD of the university. I think the further away, the more time that we spend with both Ohio State football and the Blue Jackets and the Crew in this town, I think there's a greater chance that they become better partners with each other, more friendly with each other, more willing to accept each other as peers. I think there's that. I think the birth of the college football playoff system, the expansion, the fact that teams are having to host games that we saw it this year with Ohio State and Tennessee. They had to winterize the stadium in order to host that game. They didn't have to winterize the stadium before. When the season ended in November with the Michigan game, the home season anyways, there was no need to winterize the stadium. That wasn't cheap, and I'm not sure it gets done if there's not that the push by the college football group to say, you got to have your stadium ready in case you're hosting one of these games. I think all of it has worked. And I think also Gary Bettman from the NHL, a part of him probably got tired of hearing it because he would start every conversation with, I know what you're going to ask, and I'll tell you, you're going to have an outdoor game. I don't have a date for you. Like, it was everywhere. Every time we talked to somebody from Columbus, that was how the conversation started.
Yeah, that's great. Talking to the great Eric Portzline of The Athletic on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Here's the other thing about all of this that I think is just so critical. The NHL is on a hell of a hot streak. You're coming off a Frozen Four. You have the full push of ESPN, and that still matters in a very, very big way in the sports world. They still have the biggest push of anybody that does. And then this team is the part of it. You and I talked earlier here about being ahead of schedule. And you've been here since day one, buddy. I don't think the organization has ever been in a spot like this. You start talking about Marchenko and Johnson and Fantilli, Werenski, obviously very well established, but Werenski excluded, everybody's in their early 20s. This is like the foundation of, to me, what feels like a team that can, by the time they're 26, 27, be like cup contenders. I don't think I'm overstepping. You tell me if I am. I think this is the most stable we've ever been.
Yeah, I don't think you are. I've been thinking, like, what other seasons is this like? And for a while I would have said 08, 09 when they first made the playoffs, when it was all so new. This team's a lot more talented than that team was. What is it, 16, 17 when they had 108 points, won I think it was 17 in a row or whatever it was. That was a real veteran team that had some young players as well, but they have never had the collection of young talent that they have right now. And I know some people out there are rolling their eyes going, how many times have we heard this? It's never been like this. To me, the only question here is, can they keep it together? They've had talent through the years. Not like this, but they've had talent, and they've not been able to keep it together. If this thing is allowed to grow and Don Waddell can he has said, I'm willing to pay for good players. So far, their contract talk, they've not had any biggies, but they've been they've been smooth. They've not gotten ugly. That's a good thing. And I'll tell you this: we did a player poll with the Athletic, a league-wide player poll. Where's the one team you would not want to be traded? For the first time I can remember, there were no votes saying Columbus is the one team you would never want to go play for. That's a good sign. It's not seen as a destination, obviously, but I think when you have guys like Monahan here, Boone Jenner here, and you've got Ken Johnson and Fantilli really liking to be here and wanting to be part of the new tradition here, as Adam Fantilli said the other day, that is all good signs.
And the juxtaposition with what we've seen in our city over the last 20 years, but especially in the last 5 or 6, where there's 65,000 cranes going up around town. I mean, you just see it everywhere. And I think that they've always treated, everything's always been great with this organization except for the play on the ice. The ownership takes care of the players. They treat them the way that they treat them. The fans are unbelievable. All of that's there. You just needed the product to be there. And I think, and I'm not there every day like you are. We won't pretend to be, and won't have not even a tenth of the knowledge that you have, my friend. But when you mentioned those earlier teams, all of those, even in those moments, we always were worried about, like, is Panarin going to leave? There was always that. It was hanging over it. It was like, was 08-09, was it sustainable? Because you were worried about guys wanting. I don't get any sense of that now.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, let's see where this goes when, these guys are up for contracts. Now, Marchenko signed, Ken Johnson signed. Like, it's going to be together for a while because these guys don't have UFA rights. But, we've learned this too. Even when you sign a guy, that doesn't mean that Pierre-Luc Dubois, right? Mm-hmm. Seth Jones. Like, there were a lot of guys that pulled the chute and left before their deal was up. Can they keep this group together? I think they've fostered something here. I do. It feels different. It feels like I can't tell you how impressive a guy Sean Monahan is. I can't tell you how much Boone Jenner has really, even in the last couple of years, really grown into the captain's role in a very mature, impressive way. I can't tell you how different Zach Werenski is this year. And all of these guys are fostering the young players. The young players are really, really talented and willing to listen and learn. It feels like a family. Wrote this the other day. I can't explain it. I can't explain the feeling around the group this season in particular. Some would say divine intervention. Some would say there's an aura about them. For me, it's easier to feel than to describe. But there is a sense that this group, the whole of this group, is better than the sum of its parts. And that to me is something that's been felt a few times. But as you say, never with the group of 20, 21, 23-year-olds.
Yeah, just the wave of them. That's what I think is such a cool thing, that they could all grow together. When is the last time, if ever, have you covered something at Ohio Stadium?
It's interesting you say that. I used to do a lot of Ohio State football as the weekend or the Saturday sidebar guy. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the last. I've been there a bunch these last couple of weeks just looking at the ice come to shape, but I can't remember the last time I was there for a game. I would guess it's been in the 2008-9 range, maybe before that. Man, I miss Tim May. I miss Rob Aller. I miss all those guys we used to hang out with. I was the visiting team guy a lot, and had a good time doing it. But it's been a long time.
You've been inside now that it's all set up. Did they knock this out of the park?
Oh my God, yeah. And you know what? I'm slow in the draw sometimes. The one thing I didn't notice, because we were looking at it from basically the red line across, when you step into the end zone either way, you realize that the red frame around the rink, it's the block O.
Oh, come on. Let's go.
Come on. Yeah. And, there's going to be some other wrinkles. I think Dave Metzold pried out of the league last night. They're going to do Script Ohio on the ice. The Athletic band is. I mean, it's going to be, listen, this whole BS of you're either a Blue Jackets fan or a Buckeyes fan is so stupid, and it's never been applicable. There are some people who are fans of one and another, but there are so many people who love them both. One of the things I love about this town is there's so many young people, and they do not see this sporting culture in this city as the big block O and everybody else. They see all of them. Your kids do too, I'm sure. They see all of them on par. They're on par, and there's no reason that this marriage can't be made, and it feels like it's finally happening.
Oh, I mean, told this earlier in the show. My 11-year-old last night. I usually watch the hockey games in my office, and he came in. He goes, Dad, are we winning? Now he doesn't play hockey, but that's the first time he referred to them as we. And he's like, can we all watch together in the basement? And I said, yeah, I'm in. Let's go. We can all watch. Let's do it. So it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
It's happening. Yeah. And I over the league. Like, I'm not a Blue Jackets fan. God, I hope they do well this year, right? Yeah. Like, they are a sentimental pick. There's a lot of reasons. It's a fun team to watch.
Yes.
I mean, even if you're a hockey fan or not, there's a lot to watch on a nightly basis. Just the skill and the passion and the compete level.
It would not be the same without you, my friend, and look forward to your coverage and enjoy it tomorrow. This could be a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so enjoy it. I know you will.
Well, you're the best. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is, the great Aaron Portzline of The Athletic on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We hit three things on a Friday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic.
This Buckeye Football Impact Report is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ohio State football Impact Report.
A position of high impact for Ohio State of late has been the tight end spot. Ohio State picked up a tight end from the state of Ohio out of Gilmore Academy, tight end Brody Lennon. Here's Ohio State recruiting analyst Bill Kurlick.
Tight end Brody Lennon from Gates Mills Gilmore Academy High School is another talented Ohioan that the Buckeyes convinced to stay home. He's not the prototype tight end that's going to line up in a down position at all times. He's likely going to be split out at times, maybe even put in the slot at times, but he has a chance to be a key contributor, I think, by his second year at Ohio State. His forte is his ability to catch passes, and that is always very important in Ryan Day's offense.
This report was brought to you by State Flight Auto Glass. I'm Matt Andrews on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
Libman makes a difference. The Libman Mop Crew is a part of our winning team. The Libman Mop Crew makes sure the hardwood is safe and clean for the players every game at the Schottenstein Center. No matter what kind of flooring you have at your home court, Libman has the tools to keep it clean. Our mops, brooms, and brushes are proudly family made in the USA. Visit Libman.com to see our whole lineup and for a store locator. That's Libman.com. Libman, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
I used to love shooting hoops with my dad, who taught me great lessons beyond the game. He was the one who helped me open my first bank account. He told me, credit unions take care of you like a teammate and often have the best rates. That's why I've been a Credit Union of Ohio member for 40 plus years.
Make life more affordable at Credit Union of Ohio. With great rates on savings and loans, Credit Union of Ohio has been trusted by families for generations. Visit cuofohio.org to join today. That's cuofohio.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
It's our President's Day sales event all month long.
This event is big. You choose your rate. 0%, 1.9%, 2.9%, and up to a full 60 months on so many new Lindsay Hondas. And no trade-in required. This deal works with 0 down. 2025 CRVs and Ridgelines. Both only $299 a month. That's $299 a month. Visit LindsayHonda.com because this February is the time to
keep more presidents in your wallet with Lindsay Honda.
See LindsayHonda.com for details.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do you have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan poll asks, who wins tomorrow night's Stadium Series matchup at Ohio Stadium? 91% say the Blue Jackets, 9% say the Red Wings.
9% are communists.
It's the only conclusion I can draw.
That 9% can go to hell.
Yep.
Go straight to hell. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Drink it up, everybody. It's going to be a really, really cool day. All right, time for 3 things on a Friday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
So, number one for me, Reese, I think I told you yesterday that NBC is selling his trading cards, and he's actually kind of crushed it on that. Now, I'm quick to point out to him that he's selling them online. Like, he's doing it all. He's running his own little business. Like, he's buying the packaging and he's shipping it, or having my wife ship it, but he's preparing the packages for shipping. All she has to do is drop them off in the mail, so forth and so on. So yesterday, we're watching the Jackets game in the basement. He goes, "Hey, what are these?" And it was a bag full of like Beanie Babies that my wife had when she was a kid. So apparently these are worth a great deal of money. And I don't know, she got like a Princess Di one and all this nonsense.
Oh, that's big time.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know if these things are worth anything or not. So I said, then it occurred to me, like, hey, bud, you can't just sell everything we own for your profit. Like, I've bought the commodity. I understand that you want to be a top G, but at the same time, like, you can't just sell our stuff. So he was going through like my old watches. I'm like, you got to stop, dude. This isn't American Pickers, the house where you can sell everything you want.
Does he have to pay? Does he know he has to pay taxes on those? On the earnings?
Dude, there's so many things. What he don't know is a long list. Long list.
I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm like, yeah, it's great that he is a little entrepreneur selling things online.
Yes.
Not so great that he's selling your things online.
Yeah, my stuff.
But also Uncle Sam's going to want a piece of that.
Yeah.
And like if he thinks that, well, he'll learn a valuable lesson if he doesn't.
He'll learn soon enough.
First thing for me here in a couple minutes, the Cannon at Nationwide Arena is going to be exiting the stadium, traveling up High Street before taking a left onto Woodruff Avenue or Woody Hayes Drive, and then a left onto Cannon Drive, heading towards Ohio Stadium on a flatbed truck. So if that route made any sense to you, be able to catch the thing as it goes from Nationwide to Ohio Stadium for the final, I guess, for its final stop before it fires, 5-6 times we're thinking tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
My first thing, guys, there's certain times in life when you immediately are like, I messed up there, or man, I really should have done that. And I had one of those moments last night as I was in my basement watching the Blue Jackets game, and then they go live to the shoe, and Dave Metzold is out there participating in the media skate that happened last night, skating around, seeing all those views. I was like, man, I really should have went over and done that. That would have been an awesome memory to have, a once-in-a-lifetime type thing, and I dropped the ball and didn't do it.
Was it offered?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I messed up. I should have RSVP'd and went, but I did not, and I immediately regret that decision.
I thought it was going to thunderstorm, so I thought they were going to cancel it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't.
All right, number 2 for me. Speaking of NBC, I got to figure out exactly how he doesn't sell everything we own. I did have a very proud moment of him last night. So he came downstairs last night after talking to a girl he is talking to, not dating. They're talking. I was reminded of that. I'm like, I don't know what the difference is. It seems like it's exactly the same. He came down. I was watching Curb Your Enthusiasm after the Jackets game. They have a loop on one of the HBOs of every season, like one after another. He was dying at Curb, like laughing his ass off at Leon and all of it. And I'm like, I've never been it's as proud as I've ever been. Like, you get Curb. That is such an intellectual test that I'm so proud that he passed.
Yeah, those big time. There are times like that where you look to somebody, whether it's a friend or significant other, or a kid in this instance, and you wish you could be them.
Yeah.
Experiencing something like that for the first time.
And far more tame than Eastbound and Down, which is what I watched with him last week. This is much more one we could watch together mostly.
Yeah, I think it was earlier this week or last week I gave my Ohio Bobcats some props. The men's basketball team had just beaten Akron 84-67. This might have been Monday. And then Jeff Bull's squad goes and loses to 10-win Western Michigan the following game. They've got a huge one against Miami tomorrow at the Convocation Center. That's at 1 o'clock. So, Baker, I say this to you. If during the 1 o'clock hour I feel a little preoccupied, I might have on my second or third screen as we're live at Lane Avenue watching the Bobcats and the Red Hawks.
We got me and Tyvis. We'll be okay. We got your back on that. Hey, speaking of tomorrow, it's a busy weekend here, guys. We've got Reese, me, and Tyvis on from noon to 3 tomorrow. Then Rothman and Rimmer from 3 to 5. I have a feeling that'll be worth the price of admission right there. But don't forget, Sunday, if you want to talk about it all, the Fan Call-In Show. Me and Scotty Vegas are ready for your calls. It is 11 to noon every Sunday. We enjoy talking to the people.
All right, finally, number 3 for me. This is just a simple plea. Just weather gods, be kind.
Yes.
Just be kind tomorrow. Just don't bury us in wind. It's going to be a little chillier, fine, but just be kind, especially around puck drop.
32 and 15 degrees at puck drop, it sounds like now.
I mean, that's brisk, so dress accordingly, kids.
My final thing will be 2 things. F Boston all day, every day, tonight at 7:30. And then Scott in the YouTube chat says nobody pays taxes on those sales. That's the lesson. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. See what pays off.
As long as you don't get caught, it's legal. My final thing, some more Jackets and Stadium Series talk coming up with Rothman and Ice today from noon to 3. They will have Blue Jackets General Manager Don Waddell on, and also former Blue Jacket in the NHL Network's Mike Rupp.
There you go. That's going to be fun. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. Hey, enjoy it, Columbus. It's a big showcase for the city. Enjoy your sports Saturday, and we'll be back to talk about it all on a Monday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
News, opinions, and insight, all before breakfast. Rise and shine with Morning Juice.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Come cheer on the Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team as they take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers at the Shot on March the 4th. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets and gear up for game day at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings with new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items like pineapples, avocados, navel oranges, and lettuce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
What does living your best nonstop life mean to you? Cheering on your team at that big game? A music festival with friends? A family vacation? Or maybe a vacation from your family? Live your best nonstop life with low fares and nonstop flights only at Allegiant.com.
Non-stop flights from Columbus to Fort Lauderdale, one way for as low as $44. Must be purchased by 4/24/2025 for travel between 3/13/2025 and 8/17/2025. Seats and dates are limited. Restrictions apply. See Allegiant.com for details.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit GetEthos.com. That's GetEthos.com.